Hello everybody. My name is Dean of the InkGuild, and I just wanted to give a quick disclaimer before we start the episode. So judging by the name of the title, it is the Sarah J Maas episode where we fully go into the author who has written the Throne of Glass series, the A Court of Thorns and Roses series, and the Crescent City series. I just wanted to give a couple things as a warning. My audio is a little bit off because I did record this, or we recorded this session while I was very sleepy. Everyone else was pretty all right, but for some reason, I was really tired that night. So if my audio is just a little bit quieter, then keep in mind I was probably fighting to fall asleep. And as you'll get into the episode, we talk about Throne of Glass a lot, and that's just because that is the series that we're all mostly familiar with. We've pretty much all read the Throne of Glass books. We haven't really gone into A Court of Thorns and Roses, save for a couple people, and I'm the only one who's read Crescent City, so, keep that in mind. I don't want to start anything unnecessary just on a misunderstanding. But with all of that being said, let's get into the episode.
The thing is, after my revolution fuck capitalism rant last time, you were all like, oh my god, Alex is going into a villain arc. What you don't seem to realize is that this is just who I am. I just haven't necessarily shown those colors to you guys yet.
Oh god.
Take it as a compliment. I'm now confident enough to show you my anarchist tendencies.
Yeah, just as I am comfortable being a bottom around you guys.
Exactly. We've all had growth.
Yeah. I heard Gabe sigh. He's like, God damn it, Dean. I'm so tired of hearing you.
I'm so sick of your power bottom shenanigans.
Sorry, power bottom?
Why do I not hear people? Wait.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Hello?
Speak.
I'm speaking.
Yes, ma'am.
Speak.
I'm speaking.
Speak.
Oh my god, my hands are up in the air. Please don't hurt me.
It's the people like Jeff Bezos that have to go.
Wait, how are you saying his last name?
Bezos. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm making it up. He doesn't have rights.
They're an important part of people's breakfast.
Here's the thing about sex in fiction. You don't need to have a fucking sex scene.
I can't stand those books. They make me so mad.
I can't replace a fire alarm on my own.
Just say your morning routine.
Lemonade across my bed.
An unexpected pregnancy. Now David's just...
I'm like, who's your mommy?
Hello everybody. Welcome back to the InkGuild podcast. My name is Dean, joined tonight by Brooke.
Hi.
Gabe.
Hello.
And Alex.
I'm so tempted to be like, start a revolution, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to say that I wanted to.
All right, that was a pretty long way of saying hi, but there you go. All right.
I love it.
Thanks, Alex.
I'm embracing the villain arc.
Oh my god. All right. Tonight is the Sarah J Maas episode. I am so fucking excited to talk. I'm so fucking excited for this. It has been, I don't think it's a stranger to anyone who's been listening to these episodes or to the InkGuild podcast up until now, that we have a particular habit, I guess, or a particular meme of talking about Sarah J Maas no matter what. It could be on some obscure movie or like a book series. Always goes back to Sarah J Maas. And Gabe had said this a long time ago, that we really needed to get all of our thoughts and opinions of this writer out there, and tonight's the way to do it. So I don't want to waste too much time, so we're not going to do a check-in. And or I think maybe we'll just save all of that for the end. So we won't do the opening check-in and honorable mentions, all of that, closing plugs, all at the end, because we have a lot to talk about. So I'm not going to do a quick autobiography on Sarah J Maas because I'm pretty sure a lot of at least young adult readers are familiar with her name. She is the author of the Throne of Glass series, the A Court of Thorns and Roses series, as well as a few other smaller books I think that she does, or that she did with her company, or with her publishing company Bloomsbury. Recently she has published she's debuted a new series called Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood, and as of today, which is completely not a calculated move, she has published a new book in the A Court of Thorns and Roses series called A Court of Silver Flames. So there is a lot of source material to get us through at least just one discussion, but I think just for clarity's sake, I have read all of A Throne of Glass series. I've kind of gotten through A Court of Thorns and Roses, but I had the rest of the other books spoiled because I watched Reads with Cindy's videos. I read Crescent City, and I'm not going to read I'm not going to read A Court of Silver Flames. Brooke, how about you? Aside from, or like, which books have you read?
Only the Throne of Glass series. And I had watched Cindy's video also on A Court of Thorns and Roses.
Did you watch all of them, or did you just watch for the trilogy?
I think it was quite a while ago. It was actually kind of closer to when she like first released that video, and I saw it like on the first book, and I was like, "Oh, those look horrible. I'm never going to read books like that."
Right. Okay. So, Alex, how about you?
I've read all of the Throne of Glass books except the last one, which I am slowly working my way through right now for some reason. And I have read the first 4 Courts of Thorns and Roses books, because obviously the rest of them, the next one isn't out yet. I have not read Crescent City, and I don't plan to.
Okay. And Gabe, you hadn't?
I have not read a single Sarah J Maas book. I started reading the first Throne of Glass book, and I didn't really get into it, so I didn't plan to finishing it.
Okay. So I wanted to do that just so everyone knows where we're at. You know, where in regards we're touching base. So for our audience, that's the level of experience we have. So if we, just so you're aware, because this is essentially our first breakdown episode, or like the author episode, we're going to be splitting it into 5 main discussion points or categories. First, we're going to be talking about her world building. Next, we're going to be talking about her plot structure. So how the story paces itself. Next, writing style. Second last, we're going to be talking specifically about the characters. Or actually, no. I want to save the characters for the end, actually, because, the characters are fucking something. So after we talk about Sarah J Maas's writing style, then we're going to go into her plot arc, or like specifically her plots, and then we're going to conclude by talking about the characters. As another thing, also keep in mind that, these are our opinions. You can agree or disagree whenever you want, but understand that as a public figure, no one, I think, should be exempt from scrutiny or criticism. So with that out of the way, let's start with the land of Adarlan, or Adarlan, as I've been mispronouncing for years, or for like months, I think. Adarlan is the setting of the Throne of Glass series, and it's the one setting, or it's the place that like a good majority of the story happens in. It's where the first few books occur, specifically in, I don't have my books. I can't.
Rifthold, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Rifthold. So like,
I have the wiki open, so if you have questions, throw them my way and I will find the answers.
Okay. So it's within that general area. I think eventually in Heir of Fire, it goes off into the land of the Fae.
Wendlyn, which we don't get a map of, and I'm really annoyed about that, because I love me some maps.
Yeah.
Do we not? Ooh.
So
There's no map of Wendlyn. It annoys me.
Ooh, bad word bullying.
yeah, so it goes off into Wendlyn, and then I think in Tower of Dawn it goes into the southern continent, which I've completely forgotten the name of.
It's literally just called the Southern Continent. It doesn't have
Wonderful.
a name.
Thanks, Sarah. Anyway, so that's within the that's within the Throne of Glass series. In A Court of Thorns and Roses, I think it's only in the one land Prythian.
I
think.
don't have that wiki up. Let me pull it up.
Oh my god. Okay, well I have my copy here. So, oh fuck yeah. Okay, so Prythian. So
Yeah.
the first book takes
Prythian,
place in
yeah.
Prythian. And Crescent City is a smorgasbord of places. Oh god, it's so apparently oh fuck, how do I describe this, because it's been a while since I've read it. So basically the world building in in Crescent City is split up into 4 main houses. So there is okay.
So it takes place at Hogwarts? Sorry.
Jesus Christ. So it takes place between 4 main houses of Midgard. Cheeky. There's the House of Earth and Blood, which is described or actually I'll get to that in a second. So there's the House of Earth and Blood, the House of Sky and Breath, the House of Many Waters, the House of Flame and Shadow, and the House of Flame and Shadow. And I think because I am the only one really familiar with Crescent City, we can save that for last, because let's talk about Adarlan.
The whole continent is called Erilea, by the way.
Okay, so there. Jesus Christ.
What? I'm just saying.
I know. I'm now remembering Erilea, Erilea,
Mhm.
Erilea,
Mhm.
Illyria. Oh
Mhm.
no! Why?
I ask myself the same question every day.
And this is
Wait,
coming
that's
from a writer who's named his first continent Illyria. So I don't know why the name changed, but yeah. Anyway, so in Erilea there is Adarlan. There's
Terracin.
That's
That's
Fenharo.
Fenharo.
Elwë.
I don't know how to pronounce that one.
Elwë.
Aelwe.
Elwë.
Whatever.
Melisande.
Melisanda. There's the Western Wastes, the Frozen Wastes, and the Deserted Land.
Mm-hmm.
ooh. All right. Yeah, let's just
Damn, I didn't really look at this. Holy shit. I didn't know that's where the Red Desert was. Now I'm very confused about everything.
Brooke, you have the
Oh, yeah.
books, please.
I know. I am looking at them now, but I'm just very confused because I didn't actually look at them, and now I'm like, wow, this is not where I imagined anything.
Okay.
Yeah,
Especially Elwë.
I love having the map open when I read. That's why I've literally just left, as I started reading Kingdom of Ash, I just left the wiki open with the map so I can be like, okay, where are they? Okay, they're there. Cool.
Okay. So as we're speaking on Erilea, I don't have like set structures about it. Let's just kind of talk about each place. And in general, for a YA fantasy, and this is probably just my own bad memory, but for a YA fantasy, the only real magical thing that happens within Rifthold, so that first area that we kind of start with, is a giant glass castle, and everything else I've imagined from every other kind of fantasy. There isn't key defining things that makes Rifthold special aside from that glass castle.
Yeah, I can't think of anything either. I mean, there's like the weird obsidian pillars or whatever, right? Is that what they were? That were like containing the magic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they called knolls or?
Oh yeah, there was the obsidian pillars. Yeah. So and then the castle itself, I think, was the primary like magical place, and for a place like for a setting that didn't really have like magic in it anyway. I think what an interesting place to like lock in a lot of like the interesting world building.
I remember like every time I used to see this book at the bookstore and like I would like pick it up and read the back, it was always like, oh, in a world without magic. Like that was always very emphasized in the first book. It's like there's no magic here. Which makes you go, oh, so there should be. Which I do actually think is like a really cool way to start off a story. Like it's a world without magic. You wouldn't specify that if they're like without a reason. So I actually think that's like a really good way to start off her world, her story.
So the main character, Selena, starts off in the salt mines of Endovir, which I don't really know like how specified Endovir was. I kind of just imagine, oh, it's a thing. I think, is labor camp the proper term for it?
Slave camp.
Slave camp.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
So I didn't get much specification out of Endovir either. It was more just like, it's a shitty thing. It's a really terrible place where, you know, war criminals and prisoners are you know, sent to work there. And that's about it.
Yeah, we don't really know a lot about, I think, really any of the cities.
Yeah.
Except maybe kind of, what's it called? Orinth, the capital of Terracen.
Yeah.
I feel like we get a little bit of information about that place just because it's like, you know.
Yeah. In contrast to Adarlan, there is Terracen, which I found a lot more like visually. They describe more, so like Terracen had a bunch of like ancient ruins and like these gorgeous waterfalls and luscious places and all that.
Yeah, and I remember in the books it always talked like when Aelin was thinking about it, she would always be like, "Oh, the mountains and the trees," and like it had that like, you know, that like northern mountainy aesthetic to it.
Yeah. Which in itself, like I think I respect that is a really nice visual. Aside from that, I don't really remember how her Wendlyn was thing. I like when I was first introduced to the Fae in Heir of Fire, or like, yeah, when I was first introduced to the Fae, I always pictured Wendlyn as this like very ethereal, very like Riverhold place from Lord
I feel like Rivendell.
Rivendell. Oh my god. It's like this very beautiful place with very beautiful people.
Yeah, I definitely also remember getting Rivendell vibes.
Yeah.
Which is understandable because Rivendell's kind of iconic.
Yeah. It's like the like thing with many of Tolkien's things. Rivendell is like a beautiful elven city. Right. Brooke, how about you? How have you been kind of thinking about like the world building so far? And I know like we're kind of everywhere, but like, you know.
Super. Shoot, I'll be honest. Not reading the books now, I don't remember that much. Like, while a minute, it's like I kind of know stuff that's going on, but like thinking back on it now, even with just like a month since I finished, I'm kind of like, I
feel like the setting was not important to the story. Like, I feel like she didn't focus on the setting very much at all. It was more about like the people and the events.
Yeah. Like,
I remember
hard agree on that.
Yeah, like the most I remember is I don't know, like Adarlan being kind of like slummy. Like they talk about the slums a lot. And then in Wendlyn, I just remember there's so much like accenting on it being like really guarded. Like there was just a lot of guards all the time on the streets.
Yeah.
That's like the most I remember.
It's also interesting to think about like Rifthold being described as very slummy, considering most of the first book takes place in the castle.
Yeah. Like in my mind's eye, I literally picture like a beautiful glass castle in the middle of like tiny, crappy houses.
And I think maybe that's the problem, because the castle itself, like within the first two books, is so defining that the rest of Rifthold doesn't really seem all that special. Like eventually through later or subsequent books, you find out about the Assassin's Guild and how how they operate within the city. But at the same time, I don't know, there just isn't a lot of like color and life to the rest of Rifthold, much less Adarlan, because I don't know, maybe it's just been my own subjective thing, but I've learned through my own writing that, it's good to help make your world feel alive. And, speaking on video games for a quick second, like it's nice living in a world that's populated, right? Like even when you just have NPCs 2 and 3 just like, moving their arms up and about, at least the world feels real. But for Adarlan, it just never felt like it. Like you would have small scenes with the main characters kind of interacting, but at the same time it just doesn't feel alive,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm like I literally can't think of any memorable locations from those books, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
No.
There's
and
Morath, I think.
Oh,
yeah,
right,
but I don't remember I recognize the name because it was mentioned in chapter 1 of Kingdom of Ash, but I can't remember anything about it.
Yeah.
Like what happened there, who lived there, I don't know.
Yeah. So
it's hard, because like it's while you're reading them, like you're in a different place because it keeps being mentioned over and over, right? But thinking back on it, it's like Adarlan for me was, like I said, it was very slummy. It has this giant glass castle, but like it's dark. Like for some reason, it just gave off a very dark vibe all the time. Like I just felt like it was always overcast and like on the edge of a storm. When I think of Wendlyn, it was slightly more sunny, but she was only there for like not like one chapter at the beginning of Air Fire. That was it.
Yeah.
I think of like light sand-colored stones and a sun, and then when she goes to like Maeve's Kingdom, I do think more of like enchanted forest with like kind of misty, kind of dewy, lots of dark green. Morath was just rock with tower rock.
Yeah.
And in the southern continent, it was kind of like city with uneven roads, and then mountain with riding beasts.
Yeah. I will give Tower of Dawn props for having a little bit more imagination to it. Like what you had said, Brooke. The southern continent has a lot more like creativity to it, but still that doesn't really, it's just focused on the one book, like, or it's all contained within the one book. To have the 8 books expand on, name drop so many places, but not really have each one of them feel special. Like, I think for me, the Western Wastes, which is where a lot of the Iron Teeth witches come from, hasn't really been elaborated on. And, bear in mind, it's been a while since I've read the books, but the Western Waste, which is supposedly like this haven that Manon and all the other witches want to get back to, it feels very MacGuffin-ish because there's just not enough explanation to make that place like unique. Like it's supposedly the homeland for the Iron Teeth, but what is there?
Can I make like a kind of a weird comparison? Because I was reading the first chapter of Kingdom of Ash, and like the first chapter is basically all war planning, and it basically name drops a bunch of people and a bunch of places and like a bunch of groups of people and stuff. And the whole time I was like, this feels like it's trying to be like Game of Thronesy. But the thing is, with Game of Thrones, you have like the 7 kingdoms or whatever, and then the other continent. And I feel like in that one, they were all very well described and unique, and you had like all these different places and you had like associations with each of them, and I felt like that's what Kingdom of Ash, what like Throne of Glass has been trying to do, and I feel like it's not quite gotten there just because there's not enough like meat to sink your teeth into when you're presented with different places. Like what makes Terrasen different from Adarlan? What makes Adarlan different from Fenharrow? Like I feel like there's not enough distinction between them. There's not something that marks them as unique to each other. So it just feels like one big blob.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
Actually,
with like, go ahead, Alex.
Sorry, I want to say like, because basically when we've been talking about world building, we've basically just been talking about like the map and how the world is set up and that kind of thing. I think we also need to talk about the names for a minute, because I feel like this also kind of leads to an issue. I've talked about my issues with like Sarah J Maas's naming before,
Yeah.
and how I don't think it's great. And I think part of the problem, like looking at this map, is that like I get that Erilea is supposed to be one continent, and continents are obviously going to have more like similar names to each other because you know their cultures are closely related. But again, each country doesn't feel distinct. Like it's not like if someone dropped a name, like if someone dropped a name of like a real world city, even if you didn't know exactly where that city is, you could probably like discern approximately where in the world it would be, because its name is going to have like a certain cultural, like it's going to come from like a certain language, have certain cultural like connotations with it that brings to mind like, oh, that's probably in this part of Asia, or that's probably in South America, like that kind of thing. I feel like you don't get that with Sarah J Maas's world building. Like I feel like all the names sound like they come from the same culture and the same language. And like I don't want to like give her too much shit for that, because that's really difficult to do when you're thinking of world building on like such a big scale.
Yeah.
But that is just one issue I have with her naming conventions, especially in Throne of Glass.
See, to counter it just a little bit though, like you are very much right on this, but at least with Throne of Glass, you do have some more fantasy-esque names. At least they're trying to make sense kind of within the world of like a fantasy world. But I think progressively as the series or as the different books continue, and I think I was trying to transition into A Court of Thorns and Roses for their world building. I think names would be a good way to do it, because with Throne of Glass you have places like Adarlan, Fenharrow, Orinth, Terrasen. Like they sound interesting. Like they have thing, like whether or not it all like blends well is up for debate, and I'm with Alex on that. But with A Court of Thorns and Roses, Prythian is a good start, but I think naming every other place just another court is a little bit lazy to me. So you have so I have a map open. So you have the day court, dawn court, winter court, summer court, spring court, autumn court. That's
and then the night court, and then the mortal lands.
Yeah, the fairy realms.
Yeah.
At least with like, so I'll give thing. I don't remember if A Court of Thorns and Roses was written after Throne of Glass, but with Prythian I did feel like there was a lot more there was a lot more world to the world building, like Feyre starting out in the forests has been like it's a nice way of like cementing how unique everything is. Certainly more than I think I got from Throne of Glass.
I do hear that, but also girl hunting in forest is like you could find that in pretty much any YA book. Like not even fantasy, that's just like a YA thing.
Yeah, true, but like with props are due where props are due. It's it's Feyre hunting in Prythian for me, like how I felt. It's like, okay, I know that Prythian itself is like pretty unique, but and I think naming wise it is still a little bit lazy. I would have personally, there should have been at least a little bit more diversity in terms of the names. Like if you were just gonna name them court something, like just find synonyms. Find synonyms for spring, find synonyms for autumn, find synonyms for like dreams. Because moving on to Crescent City, the names here are even lazier. So you have what is it? So you had the 4 houses of Midgard. I wonder where Midgard came from. There's certain places like the Heart Gate, the Meat Market, the Merchant's Gate, like Five Roses, Asphodel Meadows. It's conflicting because you have some you have some interestingly named places, but then a lot of the other places are just like the place, or like.
I'm sorry, you've got Asphodel and Midgard.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I know. So so the House of Things. So Crescent City takes place in the Lunathian. Is that how is that how it's pronounced? I say Lunathian, which is just like a culmination of a bunch of different things. Like for a world that has both fae, fallen angels, werewolves, probably vampires, there's so much happening in this city, and I'll commend where credit's due. Like, it's all evenly distributed, but that doesn't mean that it works. Naming wise, there's just so many things to keep up with. I think more so than any other of Sarah's books, and just like the conflicting things, like Asphodel and Midgard. Yeah, that's conflicting. You have such intricate places as or you have such like really nice named places such as what is it, like the Istros River and Asphodel Meadows, but then you just have very generic naming places, like I said, the Old Square. What the fuck? I think just naming wise, it's just gotten a little bit lazier. And maybe I'm just being picky. But
maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I feel like that's a fair criticism, because like, you know, that is something that does happen in real life. Like, you'll have somewhere with like a cool name and then there's just like the town square or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it does feel underwhelming when you read that in like a high fantasy book.
Yeah.
And also
in high fantasy, I think it just makes a thing. I think there's just a little bit more of an expectation because as I've been preconditioned, you know, and this is just me, but like as I've known high fantasy, it's your own fantasy, so like try to make it as original as you can. And I understand that that's difficult, but like when it comes to, I think when it comes to Crescent City, I'll get to that when I get to it. But yeah, Alex, sorry, I cut you off.
No, I was just gonna say, you said these books have fairies, werewolves, vampires, and fallen angels.
Yeah. It's nuts. And we can talk
I'm
about
like,
balancing later.
I'm like, I don't know if I can say anything because I technically have all of those in like my world, but like that's a lot to process.
Mm-hmm. So to touch on things, so to go on Crescent City, actually world building wise, there is a lot. Like it is basically an urban fantasy with a whole bunch of high fantasy races and creatures all kind of intermingling. Like on top of fae, you have werewolves, and on top of werewolves you have fairies, and on top of werewolves you have fallen angels. There's just so many things happening at once. And
so, quick question: if there's fallen angels, are there also regular angels?
Yep.
Okay. Just thought I had to ask, because sometimes people go for fallen angels without the regular angels, and I have to ask, so where did they fall from?
Yeah. Oh my god. I don't think I've ever been more overwhelmed world building wise than in Crescent City, because there was just a hell of a lot more to keep up with. It's an ambitious thing to try to spread out a whole new world, and I'll give her credit where it's due. Like, you know, good on her for expanding beyond Prythian and Erilea. But oh my god, even in an 800-page book, there were so many names and so many locations that I could not keep up with, for the sheer fact that like it was going everywhere. Like, first you start off in different apartments, then you go to different districts, and then suddenly you have like these big grandiose places such as the Old Square, and then you're suddenly back at the apartment again. What?
Okay, I figured it out. What was bothering me about that particular combination of creatures, beings. That's like pretty much the exact same set up as Cassandra Clare Shadowhunter stuff. Like almost exactly, because they've got the vampires and the werewolves going on. They've got the fae in that world. They're the Seelie and the Unseelie. Then they've got not fallen angels, but Nephilim, like half angels.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just an interesting parallel there.
There's so much. Like between 3 different worlds. It's thing. Like I'll give her credit. I think probably Prythian is the one that I think is the most fleshed out.
I agree.
And it's like right in the middle too, because Throne of Glass there isn't enough, and Crescent City I think there's too much. Prythian is like just perfect enough.
And Prythian with the Court of Thorns and Roses books, I have at least vaguely distinct memories of certain locations, like the Night Realm. What are they called again? I already forgot. The court, Night Court. That's what it's called. And they have like the big city with like the throne and stuff, and then there's also the smaller city. And I remember like Tamlin's house, and I remember like the house that her sisters moved into when she left. And I remember like Under the Mountain. Like I feel like the locations are a lot more distinct and memorable.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just because they actually like spend time in those locations and don't like travel as much. But I have distinct memories of scenes taking place in certain places.
Yeah, I do too. Or at least from what I know from the first book, because that's the only one I've read. I think that would be it then, in terms of world building. There isn't really much else to talk about. I guess now we'll move into plot structure, which can be kind of conflicting with the plot point that we'll talk about later, but I think in regards to plot structure, what I mean is how does the book how do these stories pace themselves over over 1 book, 3 books, the whole series. And I'll start with the most obvious, or I'll start with the singular one so far, and that is Crescent City. Crescent City in the plot is so fucking all over the place. Yeah. So within the first few chapters, you kind of get a grip on like, okay, so here's the introduction of the main characters. Here's the shit that happens to said main characters, and here's how the rest of the characters develop from there. It is both based and really, really complicated at the exact same time, because like I said with the world building point, there's so much happening that it can be kind of hard to keep up with everything and everyone, especially in an 800-page story.
Jesus Christ, that's long for a first book.
Mm-hmm. Which it is also a thing. It is also her first technically adult book. And when we get to writing style, I'll elaborate more on this, but it really is kind of a drag having 800 pages. Like, respect is respect. Like, respect where respect is due, but like, Jesus God, you could have cut it down to maybe like 500 pages and then just save it for the future, or like save it for the future installment. So
it is gonna be a series, right?
Yeah.
I didn't just make that up, right?
Yeah, it's a thing. It's not just the one-off. It's the first in the series.
Okay,
so
good to know.
With Crescent City, then there is A Court of Thorns and Roses, which is 4 books. Technically,
right now.
Yeah, 4 books right now, but as of this episode dropping, it's going to be 5. And I don't know how like it paces itself I don't know how it paces itself in A Court of Silver Flames, and I probably will never know because I'm not going to read it, but I thought the first book paced itself pretty well, actually. Like from a first person perspective, mainly Feyre's, it was good. Like it didn't overcomplicate it with too many different perspectives, and it kind of honed in on just what Feyre was thinking, which I really appreciated. That was good.
Yeah, I agree. I think the pacing in the court, for the first book, at least, I feel like the pacing was pretty decent. I feel like the first half could have been sped up a little bit more, and the second half could have been a little longer, because I feel like, the first half was very slow, and then the second half was like a lot of stuff happened all at once.
Mhm.
But like, I felt like its progression, like it made sense. For the series overall, this is just something I think, like, I found this in Court of Thorns and Roses and in Throne of Glass, is like the first book has like a self-contained plot, and then the rest of the books have like nothing to do with it. And that kind of bugs me a little bit, especially because I actually genuinely liked the plots of both Throne of Glass, the first book, and Court of Thorns and Roses. I'm gonna fuck up this name so many times on this episode.
Should we just abbreviate as ACOTAR?
ACOTAR. Yeah, ACOTAR. In like the ACOTAR book, the first book, I actually like genuinely found the plot really interesting.
Yeah.
And then after that, I felt like the rest of the plot was less interesting than the first book, and I would have preferred if the first book had been a standalone.
Yeah.
In both cases.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. Like, something about like the first book, I think now in retrospect, it really does feel kind of detached in a way, and none more so, I think, than in Throne of Glass, the first one, which has been marketed as like a retelling of Cinderella, but like, not really. So, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are familiar with it right now. Celaena's story starts off as like she is an assassin that has to fight her way through a competition to earn her freedom. That's cool. But then suddenly throughout the other 7 books in the series, it's like, what the fuck? What are we doing?
It's like, now she's a princess, and now there's fairies, and now there's like these weird alien creature things that are trying to take over the world, and now it's turning into a full-out war, and you're just like, whoa, what happened to the assassin competition?
Yeah. Oh my god. Like, the assassins competition was like a genuinely interesting first step, I think. It gave us insight into, it gave us insight into not just Celaena's story, but like, the Havilyard kingdom, basically, with the unnamed king and with Dorian. Plot wise, or like structure wise, for the first book, I think it was pretty good. Like, it had plenty of like lull moments, I think, in between like the big training montages and shit. I think the eventual revelation of Cain being the person who has been letting the Valg loose, that was paced pretty well, I think. I think, yeah, when it was still contained within just that one, within this first book, I think mostly it all worked.
Yeah, I will say, like, it was very disappointing for me continuing the series because I was very, very into a book that was about an assassin. I was like, hell yeah, I'm down for this. And then it was not just about an assassin, and it was very sad when that happened.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it was even worse because I did start with like the novella collection, and that focuses even more on like what she did beforehand and like kind of building up to that. So I was like, yeah, I'm ready for just like assassin adventures and shit. And then after that first, it's just wow, yeah. And then there's so many people and things happening. There's so much happening all the time.
Okay, wait.
But like at the same time, like nothing.
Yeah. Question,
the second
actually.
book is so...
Sorry, Alex, go.
I just said the second book, like, I don't even remember what happened in the second book, except spoilers, Nehemia's death, and like the revelation that Celaena was Aelin. Like, those are the only 2 significant things I remember happening in the second book.
Yeah.
Like, did anything else happen in that book? What happened in that book? I don't know.
All right, well, we can get to that in plot, but I do want to ask a really quick question. Am I the only one who read the books out of order?
I don't remember when I read the prequel. I feel like I didn't read it first. Like, I feel like I read like the first 2 books and then I read the prequel, and then I read the rest of them, but I don't remember.
Mm-hmm. See, I definitely read the prequel later. So I first read Throne of Glass, then I read Crown of Midnight, then I read Air of Fire, and then oh fuck, hold on a minute.
And then the novellas?
I'm remembering I don't remember if I read the novellas like after Air of Fire or before Air of Fire, but basically I did that because I had bought the novellas after I had already owned Crowd of Midnight. So I didn't want to go all the way back. I didn't want to, I had to make do with the reading order. And for some reason that made sense to me. So after Selena, or after Aelin had been Aelin, she had to go to Wendlyn, who was still Selena at the time, to assassinate some guy. And the ship ride there, I was thinking, in my head, it was like, okay, all the novellas are happening within, these are probably memories that like Aelin is remembering as she's heading over to Wendlyn. And I thought, to me, that made sense.
Oh.
Is that when that book came out, actually?
I don't remember.
So Throne of Glass came out in August 2012. Book 2 came out in 2013. Book 3 came out in 2014. But it was, so Assassin's Blade was released between Crown of Midnight and Air of Fire.
Okay.
So that's probably where you're supposed to read it.
Probably.
No, that makes sense. As long as you read it before the end.
Yeah.
I can't imagine not reading it and finishing the series.
Yeah.
That'd make it so confusing at the end.
Yeah.
That was literally a comment that I saw from a person reviewing the series. He was like, I didn't read the novellas, so I didn't know anyone who was coming to her aid at the end. I'm like, that is a problem.
Yeah.
You can't just have people show up and be like, I don't have a deep connection. Like, they feel like they owe her a favor and they're going to come risk their lives and like a shit ton of their soldiers' lives for her because favor.
Yeah.
What?
I also remember watching a review at one point where they said that they didn't read Tower of Dawn because it was like a side story and they didn't think it would be necessary.
Oh. It would have been very confusing reading Kingdom of Ash.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, so I feel like there's some like marketing issues in there where it's like, because I'm pretty sure they did market that book.
Okay, no, like just look at the freaking cover of Tower of Dawn. It's designed completely different from the other ones.
Yeah.
I understand why people would be like, oh, that's not important then. Like, I also think it's so weird to have like this second to last book just be complete deviant from the others and just be like, we're gonna go follow, I don't even remember her name. The female's name and Kale. What's her name?
Nesrin.
I'm gonna try.
Nesrin. She's actually, I remember she was a cool character when she was introduced, and then she got kind of sucky later.
I like her, but like, whoops. Yeah, so like they just go off to the southern continent, which we've like heard basically nothing about, and they're like, we're gonna go get support. It's like, okay, and then we actually get a whole book. I was kind of excited when I started reading this book because I didn't know it was gonna happen, and I read the first chapter. I'm like, oh, neat. This is gonna be one of those books where it flips back and forth between Aileen and Kale's point of view.
Aileen?
No, Aelin. Sorry.
Okay.
Shut up! You've been saying things weird already.
Yeah, I know, and I was doubting myself for a second. I'm like, am I saying even the main character's name weird?
No, that's just what I said in my head, and then I heard people saying Aelin, and I was like, ah, fuck. Well, you already said Manon, and everyone says her name is Manon.
Yeah.
Because I say it Manon because the first time I saw that name was in like a French TV show, so I pronounce it the French way. That's why.
I said Manon. I said Aileen. I said Manon. But then I heard people say it, and I was like, "Oh."
Manon's name, I pronounced it Manon, but only because I just remembered this. I just remembered like this meme, Manon, a disease you get from chewing too much, and I was just like, Manon.
Right.
All right. So to kind of quickly go back to the Throne of Glass plot, or the plot structure of Throne of Glass. Oh God, it's kind of everywhere.
It's a little
So-
bit everywhere.
All of them are
Yeah.
everywhere. The
If you were to
consistency.
Yeah, if you were to start at Assassin's Blade and work your way through the series that way, you would have already forgotten about Lysandra by the time you get to Queen of Shadows, because that's pretty much when she would be reintroduced technically if you started from Assassin's Blade. And I just don't think you should do that. Like, as technically book 0 because it's prequels, like, because Lysandra plays like such an important role, you wouldn't want her to like be forgotten so quickly. So I think for me, that's probably why it made more sense to read Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, Assassin's Blade, Heir of Fire, then Queen of Shadows, because then at least Lysandra would be fresh in your memory along with Sam and everyone else as part of the Assassins, because that is still an integral part of her history. The Assassins.
Yeah. That's why I think that's when I read it, because I remember having thoughts like that as well, where I was like, oh, if I hadn't just read Assassin's Blade, I wouldn't know who any of these characters are.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. I remembered Lysandra, but then when everyone else from the novella started coming back, I was like, who's this person? I don't know. I remembered
Yeah.
Lysandra, but that was just because I hated her, which I feel horrible about now.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess if you get a strong emotional reaction, it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the one that like really bugged me was Ansel.
Ansel? Yeah.
I said it, Ansel.
Yeah. So
Ansel.
Ansel doesn't reappear until, spoilers, Empire of Storms, which is a long time.
Doesn't she like appear like right at the very end of the book? Just kind of shows up out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's like, hey,
Yeah.
remember me?
Her
Fucking
and the
no,
Silent
I don't.
Assassins. When she and the Silent Assassins arrived at the same time, I was like, pardon? They did not part on good terms. And Ansel like walks up to fake Aelin and they're like best buds. I'm like, that shouldn't be happening. You're not best buds here.
Yeah. Like, if you read Assassin's Blade in between Crown of Midnight and Heir of Fire, you'd probably still have them fresh in your memory. But if it takes you months to read these books, like my dumbass did, going from Assassin's Blade all the way to Empire of Storms is the second last, or is the third last book in the series. That is such a gap with so many other names to keep track of that you would have probably forgotten about them by now. And they play a pretty big role come Kingdom of Ash.
Hell yeah. Like that's the other problem. It's like you have this many people, and if you're someone who reads books like as they're released, that's a really, really long time in between each one, and especially in between the books where characters actually are. Like you said, you took like a few months to read these things. People who are reading them like separately over years. Oh gosh.
Yeah,
Oh goodness.
I can't imagine
Golly
that,
gee.
actually.
That must
And
have
I
been
mean-
very confusing.
I mean, like, I know when I read books that as they come out, like Percy Jackson is a good example of this for me. I remember when the Heroes of Olympus books were coming out, I reread the entire Percy Jackson series every summer before the next book came out. But not everyone has the time or like the commitment to do that. And also these books are like way longer than the Percy Jackson books and a lot denser.
Yeah.
And I just, you can't really expect that of your readership. Like they're going to reread everything right before the next book comes out and remember everything.
Yeah.
And there's so much to remember, which I've been experiencing as I start reading Kingdom of Ash. I'm so lost, guys. I don't know what's happening.
That was me.
Yeah.
That was me during my first and second read through of it. Oh god. So
Fucking mighty.
yeah. So I guess to kind of close off on the plot structure section. I'm still interested to see where Crescent City goes with their development, but I think personally ACOTAR still has a better structure overall because it is still only 4 books as of our recording.
It's technically only 3 books because A Court of Frost and Starlight is like a novella that takes place like as the transition.
Fair
So
enough.
it's like 3.5 books.
Yeah.
I still couldn't tell you the plot of the second or the third book. But the first book was pretty good overall.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Aren't you proud of me, guys? I'm saying positive things about these books.
We'll wait until we get to the plot and characters. Then it's just completely gone out the window. I know it. So let's move now into, God, I need to work on my transitions. So I think after going through the first two, I think what makes Sarah J Maas, I think, a little bit more notorious is her writing style, which, oh God, I have issues with. I have issues with with her crutch words. I have issues with her overuse of ellipses. I have like,
And her M dashes.
and her M dashes. I think, yeah, that's it. I think those are my three main issues with it. Like the overuse of ellipses, overuse of M dashes, and oh God, I got lost in my rage. I forgot what my first thing was.
Her crutch words.
Yeah, crutch words. So, on crutch words, Throne of Glass is filthy disgusting with crutch words. And that, I guess that's a given because there's 8 books compared to the 3 in ACOTAR and the 1 in Crescent City. But still, oh my God, the amount of times the male fae have purred is gross.
I've heard that a lot.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. I really hate that she chose to use the words male and female to describe the fae instead of just like man and woman. I really, really, really hate the use of the words male and female, and I really hate when she says things like, "Oh, his gaze was so male." What does that mean?
But they're not humans.
Just say he looks possessive, okay? Like we know that's what it means, but like, oh my God.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, I get that that's what she was going for, was the whole like, oh, they're not human, they're like more animalistic or whatever, because she has to satisfy her like biting kink and stuff. But like using the term male and female just gives me like huge incel vibes, and that's all I can think throughout it, and it makes me very uncomfortable.
Hard agree on that. Oh my God. So I don't have the books, but Brooke, could you like find a meme section where like, just, I don't know, just pull up a section and read some of the dialogue. Sorry, I'm putting you on
That's
the spot.
not a good place. Wait.
Did you open to a sex scene?
Oh boy.
That would have
So
been
many.
horrible. Where am I? Not that. Yes, that. Hold on. I gotta find a better book. Let me just.
I mean, you're gonna have to move out of the Sarah J Maas pile for that.
Jesus Christ. So much for anyone who is sticking around hoping for a lot of positives from Alex. What the fuck are you still doing here?
I've said some positive things. I said I liked the plot of the
Yes,
first
but now
books
that
up
we're
to of her series.
now that we have the opportunity to really drag into the very problematic things, I trust that you're not going to contain yourself anymore. You're in your villain arc. You think you're going to listen to me?
I guess we'll have to find out.
Oh my God. Brooke, do you find a section?
I'm finding places that don't really have dialogue. How is this happening?
I guess that's another thing to comment on. There's either a lot of dialogue or
Or none at
little
all.
dialogue. Or yeah, there's either a lot or a little all at once. And oh God, that bugs me.
Wait. Okay, that makes me think. You know how they freaking like talk without talking all the time?
Yes.
You know, like their mind fucking communication.
Not
I didn't like
not
that.
wording, but yes.
I mean, that
It's
wording
pretty
is relevant.
Yeah. They basically, I don't like. What the hell is a freaking?
All right, so as Brooke.
Oh wait! I found out.
All right. Okay.
I found one of the brute brat. One of the fucking brute brat parts. I forgot she does it all the time.
Oh God.
What?
You know? She let out a high-pitched sound and went to pinch his side, and he grabbed her hand, squeezing it tightly, dragging her a step closer to him. She tilted her head back to look at him. For a moment, alone in that warehouse, with nothing but the crates keeping them company, she allowed herself to take in his face, those green eyes, the strong jaw, immortal, unyielding, blooded with power. Brute. brat. She used to laugh. Did you really lure Larkin into a sewer with one of those creatures? It was such an easy trap that I'm actually disappointed he fell for it. Rowan chuckled. You never stop surprising me. He hurt you. I'm never going to forgive that. Plenty of people have hurt me. If you're going to go after everyone, you'll have a busy life ahead. She didn't smile. What he said about me getting old, don't. Just don't start with that. Go to sleep. What about you?
Oh my god. Jesus.
Was one of those descriptors bloated with power?
Blooded with power.
What?
I don't know what blooded with power. Does that mean
what
that
does
power
that
in your
mean?
blood?
I don't know what that means either.
Is that supposed to mean like
I was
power is
sitting
in
there
your
thinking,
blood?
like, maybe.
Blooded with power.
Yeah. It's like probably it's probably like, you know, the blood rushing through their veins or something. It's like, oh, I'm so powerful because I got my body fucking working.
Now I got my body fucking.
Oh my
I was
god.
gonna say which vein.
Yeah. Okay. So on her style, I think before we get to the sex scenes, because I do want to talk about the sex scenes.
Oh, we're talking about the sex scenes?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I'm ready.
Just let me close off what we're currently talking about. Is it just me, or is the world like is the stuff in between dialogue way too much?
I think this is something I was struggling with when I was trying to get through the first chapter of Kingdom of Ash earlier. I'm just gonna bring that up constantly, apparently. But I was
There are
like,
other books, Alex.
yeah, but it's been years since I read them, so I don't remember. But like, I was like literally reading it, going like, so it's either because the first chapter is from Aedion's perspective, and he's either just like lost in thought, thinking about all this stuff, and like dropping like names of places and people, and like going like, oh, I wish Aelin was here. I miss my queen so much. Or he's like, or he's talking.
Oh my god! Literally, he's like the prince from freaking Mirror Mirror. I yearn for the nectar of her skin.
Or like either he's yearning for his cousin, or he's like talking about like battle strategy, and like those are like the two things, and they never seem to interact with each other. It's very weird.
Yeah.
It's like this is a problem I used to have when I was writing, where I would like be like, oh, I've been writing dialogue for a while, I should write not dialogue, and then I'll write like backstory or like filler prose or whatever for a while, then I'll be like, oh, I haven't written dialogue in a while, I should write more dialogue, and then I'll start writing dialogue again, and it kind of like pings back and forth between these two extremes. I feel like she does that a little bit.
All right. Okay, I need to say one more thing before we actually get to sex scenes. That's the obvious thing, and that is just one very obvious, or like one thing in Crescent City, and that is the overuse of curses. She swears way too fucking much, and that is coming from me that has swore in like the last 30 seconds, I think a little bit too much. But aside from the swearing, the writing style is still pretty much the same. Like there are still a lot of M dashes, a lot of ellipses, a lot of crutch words, a lot of like male, like a lot of like male female incel flirting. I don't know how else to describe it, but like there is still a lot of it. It's just that with Crescent City, it's heightened now because of the swearing, which is a problem, because as you know, as we have learned from creative writing classes, swearing is effective in smaller doses, but when it's suddenly everywhere, it just loses its meaning. Like I get now that she has the platform to do, or I get now that with Crescent City she has the opportunity to swear a lot more. That doesn't mean you should. Because if you had peppered in a few, if you had peppered in a few swears within the book when it mattered most, that would be cool. Like the characters would swear, but it's not so frequent that they're just saying it every single fucking time. But they do every single fucking minute, and it's annoying the shit out of me.
Yeah, it's like, I think, because obviously we at this just channel at the InkGuild podcast are obviously not against swearing, as you can probably tell if you've listened to any of our episodes. But
listen
like
to our fucking episodes, guys.
But like, swear words are words, and if you overuse a word a lot, it's going to become very noticeable, very repetitive, and less meaningful. Like, so just basically treat swear words like you treat other words. People don't actually drop F-bombs in every single sentence.
Some
Like,
people do.
I mean, some people do, but like, you know, not everyone in your story is going to do that at every given moment.
Let me pull up a page from Crescent City as you guys speak. Sorry, Gabe, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, because I remember like there was like, I remember seeing this. There was this whole thing about. I'm sort of going on a tangent, not really a tangent, but like it's like just I'm trying to relate to the subjects. I don't read these books, but I remember there was like this whole thing about cyberpunk, and like a lot of people were talking about how much cussing was in like a lot of the demo footage. And I remember people were being like, "Oh, this is so hypocritical because like you swear all the time in your other videos." And I remember thinking like, "Yeah, but it's fictional. Like the rules of fiction are you don't really like literally apply the rules of like your everyday reality to the rules of fiction. If you see someone who's swearing a lot like in real life, it's not even something that registers to you because it's just like this is just a normal. It's a real life interaction. But if it's something that's in a fictional setting, then like that's under. I mean, it just goes back to that old adage that like reality is stranger than fiction, and in fiction you have to like apply rules that even if like it would be hypocritical to apply those rules to your real life, you still have to apply them to your fiction.
Right. It's also like, you know, with fiction, even because I mean we can talk all day about like realistic dialogue or whatever and what that means, but with fiction, the thing is, as an author, you have control over every single word that goes into that story. And you are choosing to put every single word into that story. And so that's her choosing to put that many swear words into that story. And at some point you've got to wonder what's the point of it, you know?
Yeah.
Like if like every word, I don't want to be one of those people that's like every word has a meaning, but like it kind of does, you know. Everything you put in your story is going to say something about your story, about your world, about your characters. Like it's all, even if you don't really intend it to, it's going to say something. And so you have to be with swear words and with words in general, it's something you have to be aware of constantly.
Yeah, especially with swears, because like you know, like we had said, in small doses it's fine. Like when Gabe is speaking and he makes jokes on our podcast, he doesn't always swear, right?
No.
When he does, it just makes the joke a little bit funnier. But you know, contrast that with me, and I swear all the time, right? So if I'm not swearing, that's also something. But meanwhile, in like I think the point that I'm trying to get is using swears is an effective thing, and if you're just implementing swears for the sake of like, oh, you know, it's an adult book, I can put in as many swears as I want. No, you can't. Because if you are just suddenly now implementing swears on top of a very signature writing style that is, for better or for worse, yours, it's not really helping. Like you're just now writing the same book, but with more of your character saying fuck all the time, and that's not fucking great.
Yeah.
I also
sorry.
Go ahead.
Me?
Yeah.
I also want to say this is something I feel like a lot of people who aren't writers or like world builders are often aware of, but coming up with like using swear words in a story is actually kind of difficult, because a lot of swears, like in English, because the only language I speak is English, right? But in English, a lot of our swears are like have like a history or like a connotation to them, that like wouldn't necessarily, like, you know, a lot of times when people are swearing, they'll say like, oh God, or Jesus Christ, or holy shit, you know, and it's all tied back to like Christianity. If your world doesn't have Christianity in it, you have to really think about if you can use some of those words. This is like a really random tangent, but also I don't think Sarah J Maas's world building is particularly wonderful, and I imagine this is something she probably would not think about. But like swearing is different in every language.
No, I know what you mean. Every time I watch Star Wars and Han Solo says like I'll see, and that in the second Star Wars movie he says I'll see you in hell. Every time I watch the movie, I'm like that sets off alarm bells in my brain. I'm like, wait, hell, what?
There's hell in Star Wars?
I don't know. Is there? I don't know. And then I'm just freaking out from there, thinking about whether or not there's a god or devil in Star Wars.
It's interesting, right? It's like one of those things that you don't really realize makes you think about things in a very different way.
See, on that actually too, with Crescent City, because there's so much going on, or because there are a lot of different aspect, or like a bunch of like different I don't want to say cultures because I don't think that's right, but like there's a bunch of different races like coexisting with each other. How is it that they've all unanimously decided on fuck as like the swear? And why an Earth thing? Why can't they just have like made up their own swear? But again, I guess that's just a nitpicky thing. It's more or less like,
I mean, it's a tough balance across, because like if you make up your own swears for a story, then like it's just not going to have the same impact. Like your audience isn't going to like have that same. It's not going to have that same oomph if your character goes like, I can't even think of it. That's just a perfect example. I can't even think. I know that there are stories that have had fictional swears. Like I think the first that comes to mind is Battlestar Galactica has frack. And that's like a curse word in there. That's the only one I can think of, and it's because they say it a lot. They abuse their own fictional swear word.
Yeah.
But it's a difficult line to walk, because like you do want to have, if you want to have a story have swear words, then you probably do want to have like real world ones, but you don't want to have real world ones that have like deep historical connotations. Like
yeah.
Alex, you were right about like, don't be like, oh god or something. That's just not going to make any sense.
Yeah, that's something I struggle with all the time. Like so many times I'll be writing characters and I'll want to be like, oh my god, and I'm like, God doesn't exist in this universe. Yeah. I can't use that. I need to, and then I have to like start thinking about what kind of words they would use instead. World building is hard, guys.
Is a swear word that's like fair game.
Yeah. That's pretty. Can I say multiversal? All right.
It's because like it has like a definitive meaning that isn't tied to like Earth religions.
Yeah.
I think fuck is also fairly universal. But but like pretty much other than those two, it's hard to think of. Well, those two, and they're like
fuck has some weird historical shit behind it, but like that's like obscure knowledge, so I think that's still fair game.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, you guys ready for this? Hold on,
let's go.
Speaking of fucking,
oh boy. There we go, that's a segue.
Hell yeah. Segue on her.
Hell right. Yeah.
So to close, or to kind of wrap up the thing on Sarah J Maas's writing style, we have to discuss the thing that has gotten a lot of notoriety in regards to her style, and that is her sex scenes. And, oh Jesus God, her sex scenes.
I'm like, I know we have to talk about them, but at the same time, I'm like, we've talked about them enough.
Yeah, we can. It doesn't have to be like a serious discussion either. We can just meme them.
Oh yeah, I was figuring. It's like I've heard so much about the sex scenes. I did not think we were going to have anything remotely approximating a serious discussion around them.
Yeah,
they're just ridiculous, and there's so many of them.
There's so many of them.
This is my problem. Is like I don't like reading sex in books, but that makes me biased towards just hating sex scenes in general. So I don't really know if these are like well written. Are these well written?
They're not well. No. They're not well written. They are not well written.
I don't know if she intentionally meant them to be as memey as they are, but like they get fucking stupid. So
They get fucking.
oh yeah,
Oh, they fucking.
they get really stupid. So
You know what they say? They go at it more than Catholic rabbits.
Jesus.
Yeah, they
oh
do.
my god. Okay, so I guess we're not going to have a logical discussion on these sex scenes. So let's just talk about let's just talk about the ones that are like the most stupid.
So
shall we mention the freaking velvet wrap steel?
Yeah, Velvet Wrap Steel, 6 hour.
354.
It's like
Page 354, Empire Storms.
You want to read it out?
No.
Please read
That
it.
scene is so long. Do you know how many pages this goes on for?
How many?
Actually, it might only be. Wait, hold on. Let me count a second. They start.
Is this
They
the like
technically
6
start
hour?
on 350, and then
Is this like the 6 hour beach sex scene?
Oh god.
is that how long they go? Anyway, it's like 7
Might
pages.
be 3 hours. Oh my
7
god,
pages is still a lot.
that's so many pages. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure, like in the book, it's literally like at least 3 hours of like sex straight on the beach, a sandy beach. I feel like I need to emphasize that.
Yes, true.
Yeah.
It specifically says 3 times on the beach, twice in the sand, then a third out in the warm waters.
Oh god.
Okay,
So it
so I'm
says
getting it
three-
wrong.
three rounds. Yeah, they
3
went and did it in
rounds.
the salty ass sea.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on, wait. That brings up a whole other question. So they had sex in the ocean, and they said it was warm water. I have concerns about that because I've been in the ocean a lot. It ain't warm unless someone's
Well, I mean, she's a hot person, so she could be warming it.
Yeah, she has fire
No,
magic.
she has no. See, from what
And
I
their
remember from
powers
those
are
scenes,
going.
every time she climaxes, she just bursts into flames.
Burst into flames.
Wait,
That's the thing. It's like both-
what?
Yeah,
them are-
no. Are you
I don't
forgetting
remember
this?
this.
Are you forgetting this, Alex? This happens
Hang
every
on.
time.
So
Every time
she
Aelin
busts a
comes.
nut, she turns on fire.
Yeah, no.
Okay, I'll try and find something.
Oh god.
Maybe it's a good thing she didn't have her magic when she fucked Kale that one time.
No.
So that was while we wait for Brooke to read out.
Okay, fuck.
That-
They don't even like get to fucking before it's a roaring wind full of ice and fire. Oh, ice and snow blasted around them. And all he's doing is stroking his dick.
That's some
Like, they're not
crazy
even like
foreplay.
fully doing
God.
it yet.
Oh my god.
I think it's embarrassing for me because I have that tab bookmarked.
You.
I'm like,
smut lord.
yeah. So in the moment, I'm like, this is interesting. I didn't like it. I was just like, that's one
Oh,
way of
yes,
writing
okay.
a sex scene.
Yo.
All
I
right.
found a thing. Release blasted through her like wildfire, and though she could not remember her name, she remembered Rowan's as she cried it while he kept moving,
Wait a
bringing
minute,
every
you
last ounce
remember
of
her own
pleasure.
name?
Yeah, he fucked the name out of her.
What the fuck? What?
Guys, as she's climaxing, fire searing the sand around them to glass. She melted the fucking sand into glass.
Maybe that's why they moved into the ocean.
Oh my
Is that
god.
what's going on with that?
They cooked up some fish, man.
Yeah.
Oh, she brings down lightning too. Lightning joining wind and ice over the water.
Oh my god.
Lightning and flame danced on the sea. The lightning continued to strike, silent and lovely, even after he stilled.
Oh my God. I hate this. I hate this a lot.
Yeah. This isn't even thing. This is like the most memey, but I think the one that is like really fucking memey is Dorian and Manon's later in the book. That
Ugh,
is so
I hate that
memey.
scene.
Yeah,
I hate that fucking scene so much. I've gone on so many rants about that scene. I hate
Okay,
it.
hang on.
All right, let's hear it.
I think it shook me
Wait.
to my bones enough when you told me that Manon had like a het relationship. If you're gonna tell me that Manon has like vanilla sex, I'm gonna be so angry.
It's not
It's
like
not
vanilla.
vanilla.
Oh,
but
come on.
she-
It's kind
but
of
she-
vanilla.
It's not
Yeah.
fully vanilla, but also she's the bottom, which like come on.
Nah,
What the
yeah,
fuck?
her.
Like she's
Well, she
a
does
dom,
finish-
and we all know it.
Yeah, but she
Yeah.
just
You
finished
don't
off
have
with the.
claws like that, and
Yeah, she should be, scratchy. But she does finish off with saying, unless you would like to learn precisely what parts of me are made of iron, the next time you touch me, I decide those things. So
Great.
I'm thinking that's saying that
good
she
job,
has
Megan.
iron in her pussy, or...
No, the teeth on the bottom match the teeth on the top. That's all I'm
my
saying.
God.
There you go.
Oh,
You gotta have your stalagmites and your oil. Fuck, what are the other ones?
Stalactites?
Stalagmites and stalactites?
I think so.
Are they both the same thing?
Guys, I
Okay,
don't want
yeah,
to
you
think
gotta have
about
those.
this.
I
Wait,
bookmarked that because it's so fucking
Okay,
stupid. She's
she
like,
has, stalagmites? Damn, shoddy, okay.
oh,
No,
but it's because Dorian has his invisible hands, right? So he can just like touch
Yeah.
her without
Okay.
actually touching her.
Where the fuck did that come from?
You got invisible hands?
Yeah, I'm remembering this now. Where the fuck do the invisible hands come from? Throughout
It's because it's
This chick got stands?
this isn't like the third book when this happens, right? When or like at the end of the second book, maybe, I don't remember exactly. But we discover that basically, Gabe, just because you haven't read the books, what happened is there's these 3 like obsidian pillars or something that have been put up across the continent, and while they're up, they kind of like have like between them is like a no magic area. Like magic doesn't work in that area, basically. So like Aelin can't use her magic. No one can use their magic except for Dorian, who didn't even know he had magic, but then at some point he discovers he has magic, which manifests itself in these like invisible hands that he can use to like push things and do stuff with. It's really fucking weird. It's a
Isn't
really
it JoJo?
powers.
Does the series just become JoJo at one point?
You would think.
I wish.
It's kind of annoying that he just like has all of the powers.
Yeah.
Like everything. He can do everything. I just realized also when he gets his shape-shifting power down later, Manon can have sex with any fucking one she wants.
Hold on. He has a shape-shifting power? When does that happen? Oh, thanks.
Oh, you're not
thanks,
there yet?
Brad.
I'm sorry.
No.
Oh, yeah.
I read
Love
the
it.
first chapter of Kingdom of Ash. That's it.
I don't
Dorian hasn't
remember
even
when that
showed up
happened.
yet.
Just you didn't
I
hear
don't remember
anything.
what happened.
I don't care
Is the
about
series not
spoilers.
over?
Why do you think I
was-
care about spoilers? Who do you think I am?
So yeah, he
Wait,
can
hold on.
shapeshift.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
So she can literally have sex with anyone she wants.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a bonus.
I mean, she should be having sex with a lead instead because they
Jesus
have better
Christ.
chemistry.
God, I was so
Hard
mad when they
agree.
were like, we're gonna pair up Dorian and Manon, and we're gonna pair up Elide and Lorcan. I'm like, fuck you. No.
I fucking hate
we were having
Lorcan.
we were gonna have a perfect lesbian couple, and you went and did that shit.
I'm
Get your
like-
catcher
God.
nut
I'm
out
like-
here.
Everything we've ever seen about Manon, and we're supposed to believe that she likes men. Come on.
You know?
Come on.
All right, a minute or
Ugh.
like an hour and a half into the recording. That's when I lost control. Okay.
You're never in control.
We'll come
I
back
know.
to this later.
All right.
You feel in charge.
Okay. So if we thought that the Throne of Glass sex scenes were stupid, then enters A Court of Thorns and Roses with some very fucking stupid
Yes.
sex scenes. I don't even want to talk about Crescent City. It's all in thing. It's all in fucking that's in ACOTAR where the shit gets stupid. And it's so stupid that one like it's so stupid for 2 reasons. One, everything that like all the noises that Alex just made, and 2, one of my favorite booktubers literally got a huge boost in her career because she just trashed the ACOTAR sex scenes.
You're so bad.
They're fucking
I-
awful.
I only know of 2 of them, but the 2 that I've heard of have given me carnal nightmares.
To be honest, I don't even know if I remember the rest of them. It's because those 2 stand out so fucking much.
I just remember the one where they fuck in the middle of a battlefield, and one where they're sky fucking.
Yeah.
Feyre blows Reese in the middle of a battlefield. I don't think they have sex.
Wait,
No,
what? It's
Brooke, like
that's-
real shit.
Oh no, it's worse.
It's a lot worse.
Yeah.
Wait,
I wasn't expecting it to be worse.
Yeah, no, so try explaining that to someone who's never like thing, and that's what your response is. Yeah, so I think that's in the third book, Court of what the fuck is it called? Court
Who
of
knows?
Rings and Ruin. Yeah.
Getting a blowjob in the war.
God
There
damn.
it is.
Yeah.
Talk about time and place. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Is that the fire dick scene? I think that's the fire dick
I think
scene.
that's the fire dick
So
scene.
what?
There's more
She-
fire dicking? Oh no.
We don't want more. There was already. Wait, how many times has this happened?
No. Like she describes his dick as a fire dick, like in the text. Not that there's actual fire. That's how it's
You got a
described.
fire
No,
cock,
he's
bro.
literally going, that's a fire
Ridiculous.
cock. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
I'm not. That's the
No,
literal,
that's a fire dick, my guy.
literal word
We
that she
cannot
writes
make this shit
in
up,
the
Brooke.
book.
He's fire cock.
That's yikes. I don't like that. That shouldn't be in that book.
Yeah.
We
Well,
haven't
that's
even
not-
talked about the sex scene in A Court of Frost and Starlight
Oh
yet.
God. Oh no.
But
Okay.
let's talk about the flying one first.
That one was like, I think that sex scene alone made me think, God, what the fuck? What the
I'm just saying, SJM has some very interesting fetishes, and she is not afraid to let people know.
You can imagine what how do you even come up with like having sex in the sky? Do you literally like did you fuck in an airplane bathroom to have that idea?
Sky High Club.
Oh yeah,
It's
the Mile
probably
High Club,
like I
yeah.
said,
Mile High,
it's
that's what it is.
fetish.
Not bad.
She's got some interesting fetishes and kinks, and she's not afraid to let people know.
How much biting is there in these books?
Oh my god. Oh my
A lot of
god.
biting?
Biting is a
All the
crutch
biting?
move.
It's literally okay.
Purring and
No,
biting?
because you know how in Throne of Glass, like Rowan and the other, for some reason, all the male fairies, all of the male fairies can like turn into animals, and the female ones just turn into like prettier versions of themselves.
Yeah.
Progressive feminism, right
that's-
there, guys.
Yeah, great message. Thanks, SJM.
But the same thing applies to the fairies in the court books. Which I think in her mind just makes them seem cooler and more animalistic or something. So there's a lot of biting. There's like, I think Tamlin turns into like a big wolf or something. I don't remember. And I don't remember what Rhys. I don't remember if Rhys had a transformation actually. Did he?
I don't know. I didn't read past book 1. So
Oh yeah, you don't even know anything about Rhys except what he did in book 1.
Yeah.
But yeah.
well, I mean, like I know this series, right? I just can't like pinpoint exact moments, such as
Yeah,
thing
so-
like
Yeah. I was just
Okay.
gonna say, basically, they all can turn into animals, and
Mhm.
as a result, they like to bite each other a lot when they have sex. A lot. Which I
Alright.
mean, like, own your kinks, girl, but I don't want to read about them.
Yeah. At that point, it's just like, you know, I'll get to this commentary in a second, but Alex, do you want to explain the A Court of Frost and Starlight scene? If you haven't already.
I mean, I described it to you guys all, I think, but I'm just, yeah. So, again, we talked about this briefly earlier. She has, like, this thing with, like, mental bonds. So, in the court books, Feyre and Rhys have, like, this mental bond. They can, like, send each other messages down this mental bond. Very important. At some point in the series, I don't remember when this happened, because I don't remember the plot of the second or the third book, but at some point in the series, Feyre gets, like, an image of what her future child is going to look like. Anyway, in A Court of Frost and Starlight, I think Rhys and Feyre are on like a honeymoon or something to that effect, basically. And so Rhys has this like cabin out in the mountains. And, you know, Feyre, they're like going there for their honeymoon. Feyre makes him some food, and apparently that like solidifies their mating bond. We haven't even talked about mating in these books yet, which is a whole other thing that I have a lot of issues with. But anyway, she cooks him a meal, which solidifies their mating bond for some reason. And then they start fucking in the cabin, as you do. It's their honeymoon. I will, you know, let it slide this one time. Except they're like going at it up on the wall for some reason. And it's getting really good right as things are about to
Don't say
hit.
that. Don't say it's good. No, it's not.
Right as things are about to hit the peak, Feyre's like, oh, I have a good idea. So she reaches out and touches Rhysand's face and sends down their mental bond that they have a picture, an image of their future child. And that is what causes Rhys to go over the top. And he comes so hard that it shakes the whole mountain. It shakes the whole mountain.
You have told me about this before, but
I've told you 3 times. Yeah.
I think every time you told me about it, I block it out, and I'm like, nope, not remembering that. And then
I don't blame you. I wish I could forget.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
It's so bad. I still can't, why did she think that was okay?
And I'm like,
what
here's the thing.
YA offers and doing stuff like that? First it was Stephanie Meyer with Jacob's weird baby thing, and now it's Sarah J Maas with a fucking Minority Report baby vision.
it's like here's the thing, right? It's I understand that some people have a pregnancy kink or whatever, which I don't get, but again, you do you.
What the fuck?
But that's not even a pregnancy kink. That's the face of my unborn child is what caused me to orgasm, and it's very uncomfortable. Yeah,
there's getting off on the idea of getting someone pregnant, and there's getting off on having a fucking that's so Raven vision.
Oh my God.
Anyway, I'm sorry about my explanation, but I have to make it memey because otherwise I'm gonna cry.
And you have to wonder why these sex scenes are still being marketed towards a young adult audience.
Yeah.
It's new adult at this point, and it should be classified as new adult, but God damn it.
I'm so sorry, Brad. I'm so sorry.
So I don't know if there are people still here listening, but yeah, our friend Brad is also listening in, and we are all deeply sorry from the bottom of our hearts to him and to everyone who has not ever read these books. And I hope that this helps you make a decision. But
I'm also sorry to people who have read these books. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, okay. I want to go back to the whole YA thing because this is very problematic. There have been people super young reading these 12, 13.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if these books had come out. If these books had come out when I was in my Twilight phase, when I was 9, 10, I would have read these books 100%.
Yeah.
I can't imagine these books coming out in the age when 90s Christian parents thought Harry Potter was inappropriate for
satanic.
Yeah, they thought they were like, oh, this is gonna corrupt our kids, and now we've got fucking YA writers who are writing about whatever the fuck you just described. I don't even want to restate it. I don't even want to repeat what you said back to you.
That's understandable.
That's understandable.
It's horrible. Okay, wait, hold on. I don't know if you guys mentioned this because I know in the Throne of Glass everyone is of age. Aelin doesn't even have anything until she's 18, 19.
I think she's. I don't remember how old. I think she's 18 in the first book.
She's 18, and then becomes 19 by the end of Kingdom of Ash. But so then it would technically. So then, if it were just. Going off,
she has her 18th birthday in Endavia, right?
I think.
Yeah, no, she's 20 by the end of Kingdom of Ash, so she's
20,
18 in Throne of Glass. She's 18 in Throne of Glass.
Okay.
So she's technically of age. Are they of age in ACOTAR?
I'm pretty sure they
of age is not a statement you should ever have to say, though.
Feyre is 19 in the first book.
Yeah.
All right, not horrible.
Also, I do have to mention this because Rhys, who is Feyre's mate, is apparently 535 years old in the second book.
See, that's the other problem. It's I've always had a problem with immortals falling in love with non-immortals, even if they end up becoming immortal too. It's still that age difference still is massive. That's literally 12th grader dating a grade 1.
Yeah.
It's also you get it can work in some cases, but when you have like an immortal falling in love with a teenager, even if they're of age, I'm putting huge quotation marks around that, it's still weird. Like, you know, if you have an immortal falling in love with their 30s, that's one thing, but when it's a teenager,
yeah.
yeah.
I would think
It's
immortals
very-
would try to seek out other immortals. I don't know what they're doing trying to fuck all these like pre-grads. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Who knows?
It's very- It's
I would
uncomfy.
imagine-
It's just
Someone not being an immortal would lead to like unshared experience.
yeah, that's the thing. It just feels kind of pedophilic. Like it
it's very pedophilic.
just-
Yeah.
feels like old adults hitting on children, and I don't like it because it's like it doesn't matter if they are of age. They're still just so like especially. I don't feel like I'm grown at all, but I could technically fall into this bracket where they'd be down for me. But it's like I don't want you. You're ancient. I'm a new sapling. This ain't compatible. That ain't gonna work, baby. It's not gonna fly with me. Ew.
So
Uncomfy.
yeah, so then we go back to the message. Like even if they're basically new adult now, like even then, why the fuck are books like this coming out? Because new adult, I think, is the demographic of like 19 to 26 probably, which a lot of people like it is definitely a little bit more of a mature audience, but even then, like the first few books of Throne of Glass at least were young adult, so naturally you would have that audience that, you know, you would have two audiences. So you would have the audience that read these books when they were first coming out and grew up with the series, which I guess makes some sense. So as they grew up, their tastes kind of got, you know, their tastes evolved with them. But then you would have new fans of this series who are reading them for the first time as young adults. And that's scary, because on top of things, so like sex scenes is probably one of the worst things about the series that you could market towards it, or like that a kid could expect in this series. But like there's so many other things, like a lot of like very hyper masculine problems, a lot of like, you know, stereotyping and
God, we do need to talk about the toxic masculinity at some point, because oh my God.
yeah, we can talk about that later. Yeah. So
Also, can I just say really quick, that because we mentioned the Harry Potter scare of corruption or whatever earlier, and the thing is, I'm of the opinion that like sex needs to be destigmatized, and like teenagers need to be able to like talk about sex and stuff.
Oh
But
yeah, totally.
I do think
Not like this.
yeah, exactly.
exactly.
I feel like it needs to be, but like that's my point. I don't want anyone to think that we're like prudes or anything, and we're just like, oh my God, teenagers should never be exposed to sex. That's not where we're coming from at all. It's more of these particular sex scenes are not going to lend to healthy expectations for teenagers.
absolutely, yeah.
I'm gonna quickly bring up a different series. I read I Am the Weapon or something like that in, I don't know, grade 9. And that series deals with like 15-year-olds, and and like the main guy, he basically just like hits on girls all the time, and he's having a lot of sex, and it's like, fine, teenagers have sex, but it just feels so uncomfortable because they portray it in such a way, it's just like he's just going from girl to girl. They don't mean anything. They're just some fun for him for a little bit of time. And they never, ever talk about protection, ever, or what the consequences might be.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. Like, I'm not particularly comfy reading about sex when I was that age. And I didn't like that it was just kind of like, guy just has sex with girls because he can. And there's nothing wrong ever with that. I'm like, ooh, nah, man.
Mm-hmm. So
I don't know about that one.
So I think around like the halfway point here, basically within the discussion, I think we've all kind of agreed that like for the meme aspects that Sarah J Maas has, I think the sex scenes is, I think, the most, I don't want to say the most unforgivable, but it's certainly the one that is entitled to the most scrutiny. Because, bitch, the fuck, what are you doing? These are children.
that are reading them. The
Yeah.
characters aren't children. That would be a whole other load of issues.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh yeah. So I guess with that, let's move into hopefully some more Mimi topics, because that was a very, very, very long discussion. A very necessary discussion, mind you, but like, oh god, I want to get back to the memes. So let's go into now the plot itself. So some of the we had talked about the structure beforehand, but now we're going to be talking about, some moments within the story itself. So like, key battles, character interactions, all that. And like we had been talking about, I'll quickly go through Crescent City. It's fine. Like, it's not really anything extremely special. You have your favorite characters, you have your least favorite characters, and whatever. Plot wise, for an 800-page book, it does still kind of feel all over the place, and that's kind of a shame considering you have 800 pages to work with. How am I still lost? Right? Like, you have some cool moments, like, for those who are aware of the vacuum scene, that was fun. But I think also within the first few chapters, that's also a good moment. But like, it's nothing special plot wise. Like, I can't really recall big moments off the top of my head. But with ACOTAR, that has a few more moments to it. Like, obviously the sex scenes are like infamous, but there's also like, I think the Under the Mountain scene, that's what it's called.
Oh yeah, like the second half of the book takes place under the mountain.
Yeah.
Oops. Yeah.
Actually, wait. Now that I'm thinking about it, for better or for worse, that scene is like weird.
Which scene in particular?
I think the one where Farah's in like a skimpy outfit and is like,
oh god,
yeah, that's
that's. I mean, I know we're talking about problematic aspects, and if we want to come back to this when we talk about characters, I can bring this up when we're talking about Reese. But like, yeah, there's some questionable content in that book.
Yeah. Still young / new adult, so that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's totally great to just drug a girl and make her dance sluttily for you, but it's fine because he never touches her completely inappropriately.
This video is getting more and more sad the longer we talk about this, but this is eye-opening. Anyway, I think because like all of us are more familiar with Throne of Glass, let's just do that. So like, let's talk about the plot of, like, I don't want to say let's run through the plot of each book because that would take too long, but like, I think Throne of Glass, so the first book, like, the assassin competition was like a really cool thing that they only kept exclusively for the one book, so like it kind of just takes itself back.
There was like other stuff going on in the first book too, right? Like not Feyre, I'm gonna get them confused now. Aelin was like going under the castle because like the goddess lady was talking to her and she kept like trying to uncover stuff.
Yeah.
That stuff was interesting. I just didn't understand. Like, I understand why Aelin is doing it, but I felt like it would have been more interesting if that plot point had been given to Dorian, because I felt like Dorian didn't get to do anything ever, but especially in that book.
Yeah. It was more just like flirt with Selena, kiss Selena, and then...
Did they kiss?
Yeah, they did.
I don't remember that. I thought they never did that.
And then...
Love triangle.
Yay. So, obviously with Throne of Glass, like, there was also the introduction of like the key characters we all kind of know of now. So Dorian, Selena / Aelin, Kael, the king of Adarlan, and Kaltain, Duke Parrington. So
who?
Fuck. What was it?
No, who's Kaltain? I don't remember that name at all.
Oh,
Kaltain?
like the kind of bitchy court girl who's like technically engaged to Parrington.
Yeah, she gets like this really interesting arc in Queen of Shadows.
Yeah, and she's like the one who put the poison into Selena's cup before the fight.
Yeah.
Oh right, she got
And then she's
poisoned.
like,
It's been so long since I
"Harrington,
read
this
this
is
book,
what's-"
guys.
Yeah, and she's like, Parrington, this was your idea, and then she's the one that gets thrown in the dungeon, and the Parrington's
Yeah.
like, I don't know what she's talking about, huh? No, it
I
wasn't.
have a vague memory of her, but like calling her a character that we remember later. Nope.
She came
I
back.
sure do not.
Yeah.
Cat came back the very next day. What the fuck? Sorry.
What?
We thought it was a goner.
Oh my god.
Sorry. Anyway.
Oh my god. Okay. All right. So next is fucking Crown of Midnight, where
Fucking.
fucking shut up.
Not in this book.
Yeah. So there is no sex in this book, but there is a very, very problematic death in Nehemia.
Wait, isn't there? I thought she started fucking Kale in this one.
Oh,
Okay,
she did
but
start
like
fucking
it's
Kale,
like it's
yeah.
like a fade
Yeah.
to black sex scene, so that doesn't count.
Yeah, it's not like the graphic
Jesus
one, but they're still
Christ,
just like
yeah.
having sex and they're going to a closet and all that good stuff.
Yeah. It's like that making out kind of sex where they don't actually like do anything beyond just like, getting naked and kissing.
We're fucking. Keep it secret.
Jesus Christ. So, yeah,
But yes,
so there
we
was
need to talk
that.
about Nehemia.
Mhm.
Nehemia is, oh my god, I miss her.
The best character that shouldn't have existed in this book. In these books. She deserved
Mhm.
to exist in a better book series.
She did. She can come
She
back
did,
somewhere
yeah.
else.
Yeah,
And she was
she
given
can
the
go back
Thor's
to the
mom
street.
treatment.
yeah. So, what else happened? I'll give Crown of Midnight this one thing, and that is, so when Kale was captured and Selena had to go and like rescue him, basically, her going into like full assassin mode, that was kind of cool.
Yeah,
But
that's
then-
nice to see again.
Yeah, but then it's like, all right, what
It was
now?
kind of.
Are
Yeah,
we
it-
not talking about Nehemia in more detail? Because I have
We can
thoughts
come back
about
to
it.
No,
that.
obviously,
Okay.
We can come back
Yeah.
to that.
Okay, just double checking.
yeah, because obviously Nehemia is like the biggest talking point in Crown of Midnight, but like there's just like smaller things, right?
Yeah.
I literally remember nothing from this book.
The bringing up the warehouse rescuing Kale scene just reminded me of the whole Archer plot. Like that was kind of annoying.
Oh yeah.
I don't
didn't
even know
fucking
what
like
you're
the Archer
referencing.
plot. Like, you know how she's tasked to kill people because she's the king's assassin now?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And she was like faking everyone's death, and like the next person she has to kill is a guy like in the city, and it's someone that she actually knew growing up, and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I'll help you get out of town. And he's like, oh, but I don't want to. She's like, you need to close your accounts and get out and give me information. He's like, okay. And so trying to get her information. Sorry, I just did the John Mulaney okay thing.
Jesus God. I've said this before and I'll say it again. If this channel does eventually blow up and Brooke is like one of the big names for it, I want our community to develop a Brooke soundboard.
Do you know how fucking extensive that would be?
It would be great.
It wouldn't stop. It'd never end. It'd just keep going forever. Anyway, so the Archer fucking arc was just fuck, and then you find out that the people she killed were actually like on her side, and you're like, ah, fuck. And then she kills Archer anyway, and it's like, ah, fuck. What was the point?
Gotta love subplots.
I literally don't remember this at all, so this is very interesting.
It's just now like getting into my memory again. But
I only remembered it because Dean was like, and then she has to go do the warehouse, and I was like, oh, fuck the warehouse. Oh, fuck, Archer.
yeah.
That bitch.
All right. Okay, now biggest talking point of Crown of Midnight is Nehemia. God damn it.
Can you hear my like teeth clenching?
Yes.
So
It's
fucking.
reverberating through my ears.
Yeah.
I'm literally still mad about it. I'm still mad about it.
All right, talk about it. Because likely we'll agree with you.
Okay, so first of all, I'm just gonna say Nehemia was literally the best character in the first book. Hands down, zero competition. I'm sorry, Aelin stands, but she sucked in the first book. I mean, she sucks in all the books, but especially in the first book. Regardless, Nehemia is like such an interesting character. Like, you have this foreign princess who shows up. She's obviously keeping secrets. She's spending more time with the assassin that's training to like become the king's assassin than she does with like the people she's supposed to be visiting.
Yeah.
She's obviously keeping all these secrets. She knows a bunch of stuff, and you're never really sure what she knows. And then in the second book, she just like she just dies. And you find out that like she came to, I think you find this out like way later, but you find out that she like came to, what the fuck is this kitty's name again? I already forgot. She comes to a Darlin knowing she's probably gonna die, but goes, you know what? I'm gonna go anyway because, you know, Aelin realizing who she is and working towards becoming a princess again is more important than my life. And it's just like, Nehemia is also like pretty much the only character of color in the first book, I'm pretty sure, and the second book. So, you know, that's hella problematic. She's also just the best character, and she's way more interesting than any of the other characters, and you're just gonna kill her off to make the main character mad. That's the point of her death, is to make Aelin mad about her dying so that she actually does something. You couldn't have found a better way to motivate her. Yeah. I'm just aghast.
It's a very bad death when it's literally just to motivate another person. Yeah. Isn't Hale technically described as like darker skinned?
I don't think so.
I don't know. I think as soon as
I think Dorian is like tan, but Kale's pretty white.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest though, like come Crown of Midnight, I was not fucking with Kale anymore.
For me, I'm like, he was a character that had a lot of potential to be really interesting, and she just didn't know what to do with him. Like, cause you know, in the first book, you kind of have like the love triangle going on between Selena and Dorian and Kale. And then she kind of gets with Kale and is with Kale in the second book. And then in the third book, she introduced Rowan. And suddenly Kale just kind of like fell to the wayside, and then she paralyzed him and then sent him off to be in his own book for a while.
Yeah.
Which is another problematic thing, but that's fine. The sending him off as soon as he got paralyzed is the problematic thing, by the way, not that he was paralyzed.
To save time, let's not talk about each of them individually. Let's just kind of go over some of the more interesting moments. And point of praise, the training montages with Selena and Aelin, or like when Aelin had kind of become Aelin and Rowan were fine. I'll give them
high praise. They were fine.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, it's the class, like, it's the start to the enemies to lovers dynamic that I enjoy between them. So he's,
I love how that's the highest like,
no,
I hear you, Brooke. I hear you, Brooke.
Here.
Bitch, that was toxic as fuck. We ain't supporting that.
All right.
No.
Okay. Change. All right, my mind's been changed.
Has it though?
Did it?
Yeah. I fall under peer pressure really easily.
Stand your ground.
Point of actual praise, Manon's introduction is fucking spectacular.
Absolutely, yeah. That's the 13.
Yeah, literally the introduction of the Iron Witches or whatever they're called. They're so cool. Why weren't the books about them?
True.
Yeah. On Aelin and Rowan's pretty problematic relationship at this point. I will say that like I guess the after the burnout scene, so when Aelin burnt out for I think the first time, which I don't know if that's happened in other books, but like in that one moment it's like, oh fuck, all my powers are depleted, and like Rowan was there to take care of her, and like finally saw the scars on the back. That was nice.
I have no memory of that scene, so I can't make any comments. Yes.
I didn't say anything.
No, you didn't. You just coughed.
Yeah.
Stay your ground. God damn it.
I want to know your thoughts. I'm genuinely
I
curious.
don't want to shoot down Dean constantly. That feels rude.
Have you
is a
seen an
conversation.
episode of the podcast? That's basically all I do.
Yeah, I can take it, Brooke.
This is basically the Cyberbully Dean Variety Hour. Sorry, Dean, I love you, but
I like their dynamic. I acknowledge it's problematic, but I like it.
This might come up again when we talk about the character section, but like, are we ignoring the fact that they're also cousins?
Ah, thank you. Fuck.
God.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, fuck.
So
Oh
much
god.
incestuous.
and they were cousins. Oh my god, they were cousins.
They just made it so much worse. It's like her and Rowan, and then Aedion had to come into the picture and be really fucking weird. And they're like, technically, they could have gotten married, and they were like maybe betrothed. And it's like, stop. I mean, Aedion. Sorry.
That's another thing. What is with YA? That's another like trend I've noticed. What is with YA writers and incest?
And the incest? Yeah, I have the same question.
Like, y'all.
I don't
You guys
know
okay?
anymore.
This is like vaguely unrelated, but I watched the Winx remake, right? And there was a moment, because this show has so many similarities to Shadowhunters. There was literally a moment where they dropped some like information about Sky and Bloom's backstory, like around the same time, and I was like, oh my god, are they going to be siblings? Oh my god, are they going down that route?
God.
I don't think they are. But the fact that my brain has been so wired to start wondering that, like the second something like that drops, I blame people like Cassandra Clare and Sarah J Maas for that.
Yeah.
So that's what Winx was missing this whole time.
Oh my god.
Oh god. All right. Anyway, we still have books to talk about.
Yep.
All right, what other book? Like, okay, so there was. I think I jumped ahead. I jumped ahead a little bit. So there was Airfire, then there was Assassin's Blade, which were the prequel books, and maybe the only fascinating thing that I can like actively remember from that was Sam dying.
The only thing I remember was Sam and Selena not hooking up, but like making out in a sewer. That's the only thing from that book I remember.
So romantic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what gets her on her sex spree. She's like, I didn't fuck that guy when I had the chance, and now I gotta fuck everyone immediately.
Jesus Christ. I don't think that's how that works.
It's kind of true.
Be like, damn, my first fuck toy is dead. Might as well compensate.
I
liked Sam, and then I was mad that it was like, him and Selena.
Me
like,
too.
Fuck Selena, get out of here.
I actually genuinely liked Sam as a character, and I actually kind of liked Selena's relationship with him too. Like, I thought he was an interesting character, and I thought their dynamic was really interesting. And I remember there was one point in one of the books, I don't remember which book it was, when, like, I think it was after the Aelin reveal, where she was, like, at one point she, like, sat down and, like, didn't, like, pray, but, like, did that kind of thing, where she was, like, talking to Sam, and she's like, I don't know if you are my mate. But like blah blah blah, like did that, had like a little conversation with him, and I thought that was really sweet.
That was Queen of Shadows.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
See, Sam and Nehemia, best characters. She had to kill them off because she couldn't write them for the rest of the books.
Yeah, it's like I'm mad about them dying, but also like the alternative might be worse.
True.
True.
You would have seen them crumble.
The whole thing: die a hero or live long enough to be bastardized.
Ha.
All right. And other quick fire moments, because we've spent, I think, a little bit too long on this section.
I think Aed's introduction was also. I really think I liked Aed's introduction too.
It was nice to like know about Aileen's caretaker when she was younger, and then find out like, I want you to tell my daughter I love her, and then we get to meet the daughter, and it's like, oh, more Liv, yes.
And she's such a good character. I just love Aed. She deserved better.
She has
Beautiful,
like a
with her
really
little limp. and her smartness. So just quick. She's very quick.
Yeah. Very well-rounded, clever character. And that's a nice contrast compared to like all the other like hyper alpha characters.
Yeah.
She's like a
Couple-
genuinely
couple-
like sweet character too, I remember.
Mhm.
Like she's like snappy still and she like doesn't take shit, but she's also like nice,
Just
which is
nice.
something a lot of the other characters in this series lack.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
Because apparently teenagers like sassy hyper alpha characters.
Hey, YA
Yeah.
writers, you can be sassy and also nice at the same time.
No, impossible.
Fun fact! Remember it. There will be a quiz later.
Oh shit! I should have been taking notes.
Come on,
Alright.
Dean. Step up.
I've lost control, Brooke. I don't know what you want from me anymore.
Never had it.
Never had it. Yeah.
Also, okay, just real quick, because I don't remember why this happened, but everyone went to a swamp at one point. Why did that happen again?
They needed to get the thing from the swamp.
What thing?
The
I think that
thing
should
that was
say
in the
everything.
sacred sunken place.
Okay. Oh, also the pirates. There were pirates at some
They were
point.
pirates.
There were
Yeah, it was weird
pirates.
to go back to Pirate Cove. Pirate Cove. It's weird to
I
go
think that's
back to
literally
Pirate
what it
Cove
is,
after
isn't it?
novella.
No, it's called the Dead Isles. I was
Yeah.
looking at this earlier.
Pirate Cove.
Skulls Bay
Skulls
Oh,
Bay.
yeah,
there
Skulls
it
Bay,
is.
yeah.
Skulls Bay.
and the Dead
Freaking
Islands.
Captain, dude, whatever his fucking
Rolf,
face was.
Rolf.
Yeah.
Rolf.
Rolf.
Yeah.
I remember enjoying him as a character. I thought he was fun.
You enjoyed him.
I hate you, Brooke.
Sorry. I mean, I get it. Sexy swashbuckler. You know.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. Little tattoos and shit. Good stuff.
He had cool tattoos. He had like the coolest tattoos ever.
All right.
Very advantageous. Anyway.
Are we not going to talk about Lyssandra's like transformation into the sea dragon though? Because I really enjoyed that.
I just enjoy Lysandra in general.
She's a good character. Okay, was it? It was after this he turned into a sea dragon that Aedion made his weird comments, though, right?
Like the weird, I'm gonna marry you one day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hated that scene. That was like
And
the
then he-
moment I realized I didn't like Aedion anymore.
Yeah.
I was
it's
like,
kinda weird,
okay,
yeah.
buddy, you're so possessive.
Yeah.
Super. And then he ended up being like a fuckhead for the rest of them until like the very end. And it was like,
He treated Lysandra like such a dickhead.
Oh my
Bad,
gosh, she
so
deserved
bad.
better.
She's yeah.
Honestly,
Did she end up with him?
yes,
It's
that's the
implied.
problem.
If not
Ugh.
if not outright stated, it's implied.
She
They say
deserves
like
better.
they're gonna have the wedding in the summer. Basically, they're like, there's probably gonna be 2 weddings in the summer.
She
And we know
deserves
there's gonna
better.
be Aedion
Yeah.
and
He
Lysandra, and it
deserves
made me
better.
mad because he was such a dickhead. And they also said that Ren, like Lysandra, so I was like, "Ooh, shit, they're gonna have her shift to Ren because that'd be nice."
Mhm.
Does he
Especially
actually
because they
treat
even
her
pointed out, I don't know, he's just kind of sweet around her. And also, they pointed out the whole fact that her little girl child that she saved, I don't remember the name of,
Evangeline.
Evangeline.
yeah.
You know, they pointed out the similarities. Like Evangeline has the scars on her face, and Ren has his scars, and they like connect.
Yeah,
that
I
way.
just
was like,
read that scene.
perfect.
That was in the first chapter of Kingdom of Ash.
Lol, I was like, perfect. That means that Ren already likes Evangeline, and Evangeline is basically Lysandra, so they're going to be a nice little happy family. And then they went back with Aedion, and I was like, oh no. You set it up.
I don't remember when this happened, but I remember that at some point when Aedion came out as like a bi character, he compared being bi to like being forced into prostitution or
Mhm.
something.
Wait, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Good writing there, Sarah
this-
J
I fucking remember
Maas.
that.
Whoa!
It's just, ew.
Got that?
Not the best way to portray like LGBTQ people.
Oh
I
god!
mean,
we already
completely
knew she was
forgot
bad at
about
that,
Oh
but
my
yeah.
god!
Yeah, true.
Oh my god! I completely forgot about that. Oh fuck!
Like literally within a few sentences, I was like, no,
Oh
that's
my god!
not the right way to do that.
God damn it!
Yeah. I have some concerns.
Yeah. All right. I
Yeah.
think we've talked enough about like specific plot points. There's a lot of shit to talk about, but like after we've covered the sex scenes, is there really anything really worth talking about
I was
anymore?
about to say, Dean, there's so much going on all the time, but like nothing also. I'd also just like to complain about the battle scenes, because like sure, they're action packed and a lot is going on.
She fucks up battle scenes? How do you fuck up battle scenes?
I'm sorry, it's maybe not her, but like I'm tired of reading battles where they're just head-on clashing with each other. I'm like, can we get some fucking strategy for once? Where's the strategy here? It was like all right when like Lysandra would turn into like the ice dragon. Oh, I don't want to spoil stuff at the end. Wait.
We've already
Alex
done it. It's
doesn't
fine.
Okay, fine. So there's like not too much going on. It just made me mad that they'd never tried to like outflank or like do anything on the sides. Freaking God, what's her name? Ansel. Ansel's other half of her fleet gets completely ripped apart and their heads are used against them, and it's horrible. And I hated that scene because that was disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, they're just doing like head-on clashing. Like the only smart thing it's felt like they did was having Lysandra go into like that river thing and go like along the side flank thing of like the Volg army. But even that didn't seem to have like the biggest impact. And then we just had Manon's 13 go and do shit.
You know, it's really interesting to me that we've been talking about the plot for like at least half an hour here, and we've barely mentioned the Volg at all when they're like the main antagonists.
Yeah. They are the thing. Like it's just like there's so much. The problem is that there's so much like character development that we don't even get. Like not even character development.
I was gonna say, can we call it character development?
It's characters doing things sort of and fucking a lot.
Yeah.
And there's supposed to be a whole war going on, but it's interspersed with so much fucking that's kind of hard to follow along.
It's like I said this earlier. I feel like it's trying to be very Game of Thrones, but she doesn't know how to balance it the same way that he does.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted a Game of Thrones, but we got Game of Thrones season 8.
Ooh.
Even I have to say that might be a little too far.
Okay, well I'm just
This entire series is the finale of the season.
I'm like, even I don't think the Throne of Glass books are that bad.
Don't know, man.
It's close, but
all right. Well, let's just pretend I never said that.
Nope, you said it. It's out there now.
Oh God. All right. Well, I'll own up to it then. Fine. Yeah. Anyway, we've talked.
So what can we say
much.
about the Valg though?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought they were always like, They're supposed to be.
What do they do?
Yeah,
they're not
supposed to be,
intimidating villains at all.
I think that's the point. Like they don't have that much of a meaningful impact. Like you have Maeve, who is a very like formidable character against Aelin, but everything else, like Erewhon and the Valg, are like second fiddle. Because like Maeve is a good villain, but everyone else, I could not give a shit about.
I'm just like, okay, what is the goal of the Volg? Do they just want like world conquest or something? What are they doing? That's my I started reading Kingdom of Ash, right? And I'm just like, I remember that the Volg exist, but I don't remember like why. Like, what are they doing? They like took over the king. They like take over people's bodies and stuff. Why?
Yeah.
Just conquering.
Just conquering for the sake of conquering.
I mean, we kind of get that with Maeve's story, right? They just like to go out and conquer shit. So I think they just wanted to go out and conquer shit.
That's such a boring motivation for your villain. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Maeve honestly was a better villain than the Volg and Erewhon.
At least
like Erewhon presented like a bigger threat, technically.
She literally, this book starts with Aelin having been captured by her. Mm-hmm. Like that's already like Maeve actually does shit.
Yeah.
It's true.
I think then, like, just because there's more conviction, or like there's been actual action with Maeve, that probably just makes her the better villain. And that's basically just, restating what was already said, but like that's should be it. Like the
she's like an actual threat.
Yeah, like the reason why people hate the Blackbeak matron is because she fucks up Manon quite a lot, and a lot of people hate her for that. She does things.
It's personal.
Yeah.
Or
It's
like,
personal.
or
That's
like,
the thing. It's like, go.
or like the guy that the fucko that Lysandra kills, whose name I
fucko?
refuse to remember.
Kirsten
I
goes
told
with
you
that
that's
name.
how I remember him. The fucko that Lysandra kills. That's another good villain because like he literally personally fucked up both Aelin and Lysandra's life, and he's like a genuinely shitty person.
Arabin.
So
Arabin? Yeah.
his death is like satisfying.
Sort of. I kind of almost wanted more, but you know what? Yeah.
But like you're like okay, you go Lysandra, kill him. He deserves that. I'm like, if when they eventually conquer the Valg, which I'm assuming they do in this book, like, am I gonna care?
No.
Probably not.
I'm gonna say no right now because you're gonna hate the way they do it.
Oh boy.
Oh god, yeah.
I don't want to spoil that part. I want you to just be mad, like I was. I want you to get there and be like, what the fuck? Because I did that.
Yeah, I was there too. All right. Characters.
Smooth transition.
I've lost it. Anyway, characters. I think I'm gonna try to like package this because this is the last segment. So like every single writer in a fantasy especially has their thing, writing styles, world building, interesting plot points, sex scenes, fuck it, whatever. But so long as the characters have some kind of interesting thing to them, that probably powers people through. And I think it'd be kind of useless trying to talk about each character individually. So let's just talk about the characters. First things first, I guess I seem to be in the minority here when I say I like Aelin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've stated in a previous episode already that or my reasons as to why I like Aelin, and I'm not gonna, flash up that clip because you can just go watch it, but why don't you guys like Aelin? I know why Alex doesn't like Aelin. Why do you not like Aelin? Because maybe you two might have the same reasoning.
Okay, well, this is hard to articulate because it's like sometimes it works in characters and sometimes it doesn't. But my gut feeling with her, I just hated her arrogance and like her complete snark. And she was just so mean for so long. Like I just hated the way that she interacted with people and went about just interacting with people. And even when she gets better, she still has like extremely sassy moments that I just hate because it just reminds me of the arrogance and the snarkiness and just the overall complete brat personality.
Mm-hmm.
And then it also comes down to like, I just can't relate to people who have like all of the power, like she just has so much power. It's like, it's fun to watch it happen. Very fun. Also don't like people who just get all of the attention from all the guys always.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking
of guys, there's Rowan, who is probably my favorite out of the cater because I literally do not care about anyone else in that.
Is it called a cater?
Is it the cater? I'm pretty sure.
I called it the cadre.
Oh god!
I thought I called it cadre too. I think.
Okay, yeah, woo!
Oh my
cadre!
God! All right. Well, I'm probably the minority here again, but yeah, the cater, the cadre, whatever.
But
Rowan was probably the only one that I care, like the only one that I probably cared about. Gavriel and Fenris were fine. I don't remember who Fenris's brother is. And Lorcan sucks.
I hate Lorcan. I'm just gonna say it. I hate him. I never liked him, and he should not have ended up with a lead because they were a terrible pairing. That's not the point. I find
Rowan.
Rowan.
We knew it was gonna happen.
I find Rowan so forgettable, like as a character. Like I'm like, I know he's there and I know he's like an important character, but I'm literally just like, what does he do in this story? He's just kind of like Aelin's fuck buddy.
His trait is just be angry and possessive.
I find him such a forgettable character. Like I couldn't even tell you what he does. He can turn into a bird, right?
Yeah, he's like
he
a
also
hawk
has
falcon
wind powers.
Yeah, and he's like got like icy wind powers or something.
Yeah, he
but
had a whole
like-
thing of like having tattoos on his face, so like or like tattoos down his face and then down his like I think his left arm.
I'm sorry,
And, like,
but
crystal
like
white
tattoos
hair.
are cool and all, but like having tattoos is not a personality trait.
For these
It's
people,
not.
it is.
It's really
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
No, I just find him so forgettable. I remember liking Gabriel, I think. I don't know why. I don't remember anything about him, but I remember liking him. I don't remember
Gabriel
about
was
any of the
fine.
other ones.
Gabriel was fine.
He's kind of cute. He's just like in my mind's eye, like a golden sunshine father boy who was just calm. Like no one else was calm. He was just kind of like there and calm. I mean, Fenris was actually quite nice that way. He was
Yeah.
kind of quiet. But that was after the unfortunate incident that he was quiet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember much
Fenris
else about him other than he was just like
Connell?
kind of small. Yeah, basically, he's just small. Small boy,
Yeah.
small quiet
I-
boy, sad boy.
I liked Gabriel. I don't remember anything about Fenris or Connell. Who
And I
the
just
fuck
thought it
is
was, like-
Vaughn?
I completely
Oh, because
forgot
Vaughn
that,
wasn't even fucking there. It was like Maeve sent her fucking cadre out and they're like, go get Lorcan because he stole my goddamn ring. And they basically, who is it? Gabriel and Fenris that are together? They
Mhm.
paired up to go search, and then they're like, yeah, Vaughn's over in this other continent. We're like, okay. And we never hear about him other than the very end of Kingdom of Ash. And they're like, maybe we should try and invite Vaughn over here. I read that part and I was like, who? What?
I'm
And I had to
reading
go back.
his description on the cadre page on the wiki, and it's not much is known about Vaughn except that he is the quietest of the cadre and never wastes time on words. His whereabouts are largely unknown for the majority of important events, but after the third Volg War ends, he is released from his oath with Maeve's death. The former cadre members discuss possibly finding him and offering him a place in Aelin's court.
Jesus
Exactly.
God.
That's it. That's all we did. Like when I read that, I was like, what the fuck?
It's like, oh, am I gonna meet this character? No.
No.
You just have to trust that he exists and he has an important role, just not right now.
No, he's not here. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Also, I was kind of mad because I did like Gabriel, and then they just fucking yeeted him off at the end because he was the only person that you couldn't really pair with anyone. And I was like, damn,
Yeah.
I hate you. And he kind of
Because
died
he
for,
was
like,
the
no
dad of
reason.
one of the main characters, and everyone else
Yeah.
like in
of
the same
Aedion.
age range.
And Aedion was like, fuck you. And then at the end, it's like, he didn't need to die. Like, there's literally no reason for him to actually die. Did he actually make an impact holding off the Volg where he did? Because it sounded like they just need to shut the doors.
Mm-hmm.
This is another one of those ones with like the uncomfortable age gaps. Like Rowan's fucking 350 years old and Aelin's like what, 20
20 by the end of it.
by the end of it.
Mm-hmm. All right, who else is part of the thing? Okay, so there's Manon and 13, which we'd
I
already
mean-
kind of touched on already. Like, they're fantastic.
Everyone already knows how we here at the InkGuild feel about Manon.
Or Manon.
Manon.
It's it still bugs the fuck out of me that it's Manon. That just sounds
Manon.
weird, but then again,
It's French.
Manon.
That's
Oh.
why.
all right.
Fucking French people.
But do they have French there? Because I'm pretty sure they don't have French in this world.
I'm just saying it's a French name, so I pronounce it the French way most of the time. Manon.
Manon.
Well,
Manon.
Manon. I don't know. I don't speak French.
No one's perfect.
Yeah. Oh my god.
But yeah, Manon's great.
Yeah.
Best character, zero competition except maybe Nehemia.
Mm.
Hmm. We'd already talked about
Lysandra.
Nemia. Yeah, Lysandra is great.
Mm-hmm.
We need to
I'm-
talk about Dorian and Kale also, considering they
I
were
was getting
introduced
to
in the
that, yeah.
first
So
book.
I think Dorian's role goes from like pretty meh to pretty good, and then Kale's goes from pretty alright to pretty bad to holy fuck, and then eh.
I'll agree with that.
Does he come back in Kingdom of Ash?
Yeah.
Kale?
Mhm.
Yeah.
They have
He's
a whole
in it.
reunion scene, I think.
With his little boy toy. I don't know why I said boy toy.
Yeah.
With his
Irene
wifey.
is-
Irene?
Yeah, Irene is great. I like Irene.
I didn't like
Wifey
Irene.
blue.
I don't think I hated her, but I didn't like her.
Yeah.
She was just kind of there.
There, yeah, I was gonna say that exact thing. She was there.
Brooke, we're on the same wavelength, I swear.
Very good. We should be.
Oh my god.
But no, I remember like Dorian and Kale I thought had really cool, like, well, a lot of potential is what I'm gonna say. Both of them had a lot of potential, and I don't know if it was lived up to.
Yeah, what a waste of their chemistry.
They had
They've
such
been-
good, like, I'm just, okay, no, I actually want to talk about Kale for a minute, because I remember he was die-hard loyal to the king in the first 2 books.
Mm-hmm.
And then Aelin leaves, and all of a sudden he's like part of the rebellion. And I remember there being like zero explanation for it. Like 1 second he's diehard for the king and of Adarlan. Next moment he's like joined the rebellion. And there's like, and I'm like, is this your attempt at character development, Sarah J Maas? Because I think we need to have a conversation about the development part of it. Like that needs to happen gradually. If there's going to be a quick change like that, there needs to be a reason, and you did not give one.
Change. Well,
And that it really annoyed me, because I felt like it could have been a really interesting character arc for him to be like, oh, maybe the king does suck, and like see him struggling with like his loyalty versus his morality, and like the way that could have developed into him joining the rebellion. But we didn't get that.
mhm. I can't really remember now because they like offhandedly kind of mentioned like, oh, my loyalty isn't to the king, it's actually to Dorian, who will one day be king. So I'm doing this in defiance of my current king for the good of the future king, or something like that. But I don't actually remember if they had like him realizing the king was bad before he made that decision.
I don't think he did.
I don't think
like,
so.
Because I remember it feeling very sudden in the book, and being like, wait, hold on, you just changed his entire personality to like fit the story. You can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't even think that much time passed between that happening. Like, it literally felt like it came out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I mean, also, I'm just going to say it. When I read the books the first time, I definitely shipped Dorian and Kale. They had really good chemistry. And there was just like, even if you don't take it in a shippy direction, just like the bond between them, like these 2 guys that have been friends since childhood. One of them has like sworn loyalty to the other and will do anything to protect him. Like, that's such a good dynamic. And I feel like it never went anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Like, I think as soon as like Air of Fire came around and Aelin had to leave for Wendlyn, and basically Kale and Dorian had to do their own shit. Like, why? I don't understand why they were suddenly doing 2 different things in Air of Fire when they could have been taking on things together. That'd be a nice development of their relationship.
Yeah.
But
They kind of did like a separation thing. It was like as soon as Selena was a thing between them, it's like they never really got back. And
Which happened in like the beginning of the first book. So I feel like they had like this such a good potential dynamic or like relationship that never went anywhere because Elena showed up.
Yeah, it like forced them apart, and then they never got back together. So then they just shoehorned in like Nezrin for Kale, and then they got Sorsha for Dorian, and then yeeted her off too. So like, okay,
and then shoved him into a relationship with Manon.
Oh,
out of nowhere.
Yeah, just here you go, have a witchy bitch.
I'm like,
oh, God.
One thing I've seen people talk about that I have to agree that Sarah J Maas does well is she does have this like thing where she will have characters have multiple love interests, and it's not like they meet the first guy and they're soulmates and everything's perfect, which I do appreciate. However, I don't think she handles their relationships well, because first of all, at least the main characters always do end up with a soulmate anyway. It's just not the first guy they meet. It's like the second or the third guy they meet instead, which is also not realistic, but whatever. But also, like, I feel like she doesn't really give the relationships time to develop at all, which is especially prominent in Manon and Dorian, because I know I've told Dean this before. I don't remember I've talked about this on the channel, but like Manon and Dorian had so much potential. Like I wasn't into them reading the book, but like when I got to the scene when they like got together, if you can call it that, I was like, this could have worked really well.
Mm-hmm.
I could see the path, like the way I would have written it if these were my characters, and I was like dead set on them being together because I didn't notice that they both had better chemistry with other characters. But like they had potential to work. But instead of like letting them develop a relationship slowly over time, she was like, nah, they're horny for each other. Fuck.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is
I
the only
remember
guy
they-
that Nana will let him bang.
Yeah.
Oh.
Alex, you did talk about that in our heteronormativity episode.
Oh, that's when I talked about it. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
This is like the one thing that pisses me off the most about these books, I think, honestly. Because like I can see such an easy solution to this problem, and she just didn't go for it.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god! Like I think in addressing a lot of the complaints with not just Throne of Glass, obviously, but like with the Court of Thorns and Roses and with Crescent City, there's I think just a few things that she should be better at handling when she moves into the next book, which, you know, given a Court of Silver Flames, maybe that's evident, or maybe we have to wait until the next Crescent City book for that. But for one thing, develop your relationships, Sarah, please.
This is something that applies to like a lot of authors, especially YA authors. Develop your relationships.
Yeah. Another thing, improve the LGBTQIA plus representation.
Please.
That's good. You'll have a lot more people in your fan base, and it's really not that hard. We've already done an episode where we were basically like, hey, LGBTQIA people are people. There's your starting point. Other things like, please understand that even though it's your writing, a lot of people don't want to be reading your sex scenes. Keep that shit to yourself.
Post them on fan fiction websites because the people there will appreciate it.
Yeah. Either that, or like if you really want to get it to print, then just release a separate book.
Yeah. Or literally just go into fucking erotica. Like there's a whole genre for sex. People read it, people like it. People go there when they want to read about sex. People go to books in your sections when they want to read about fantasy, not sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I think those are like my 3 points of advice. Like Sarah. Oh God. Alex, how about you? You got anything to share? For like.
Oh boy. Stop using the words male and female to describe your characters because it makes everyone uncomfortable. God, we didn't even talk about the mate thing or my issues with it.
I'm getting sleepy.
Yeah. So
Unfortunately.
I don't really know what else to say. I think I've made a lot of my points in here clear.
Yeah. I guess to quickly touch on that too, yeah. Stop thing. If you're going to like introduce like a soulmate system, please be consistent. Don't say, oh, every one person now has a soulmate when it's originally, oh yeah, soulmates are really hard to find. It's like a once in a lifetime thing, and even then, like, it's not gonna happen so soon. But oh, we got 8 books, shit, ship off everyone and they're gonna be fucking soulmates or mates, I think.
She calls them mates.
Yeah, that's not just
Mates.
Throne of Glass, that's in fucking thing, that's in ACOTAR too.
ACOTAR too, yeah. Ugh. I didn't even get to talk about Reese. Can I talk about Reese?
Yes, you can talk about Reese.
Okay. So, Reese is introduced in the first ACOTAR book, right?
Yeah.
And when he first shows up, he's kind of this, like, cool, mysterious dude that you don't really know anything about. You know, he's working for the villain, and he's like kind of an asshole, but that's what you kind of expect. You kind of expect him to be the villain, right?
Mhm.
And like I remember when I first read this book, I was like, oh, I like this character. He's cool. And then we go under the mountain, and he is fucking abusive as hell to Feyre. Like he breaks her arm and tortures. Well, no, he doesn't break her arm. He just tortures her with her broken arm and like forces her to do all this stuff for him. Like we talked about the dance scenes earlier.
Mhm.
For those of you who have not read the book, basically he literally drugs her, has her like painted up in the like, gives her like skimpy outfits, and then paints the rest of her body, and then drugs her so she can't remember what happens, and then takes her out and has her like dance for him in front of everyone under the mountain, which is literally like everyone in the fairy court place. And then afterwards is like has the paint there to show that he didn't touch her inappropriately, which is super gross. Again, forces her to like make a bond with him and tries to so he can like help her, or so he says. At the end of the book, he kind of like comes to this weird realization and then vanishes, and you don't find out what it was. And then in the next book, you find out that him and Feyre are mates, and they basically end up together. And all of a sudden, he's like a completely different character, which like on one hand you get because like, you know, he was in a situation where he's basically a hostage for the villain of the first book. But like the change is like so drastic. He doesn't like apologize ever for like forcing her to make a mental bond with him, I don't think. Or like torturing her by playing with her broken arm, as far as I remember. And all of a sudden he's just like, yeah, I'm a cool feminist dude. Yeah, you know, you're a woman, you can do what you want, and I will support you because I'm a feminist. Yo. That's the other thing I wanted to talk about, feminism in these books. But like just all of a sudden he's supposed to be this like sweet, cool dude, but he's also like really powerful and mysterious, and his character is all over the place. Is like I don't even really know where I'm going with this. I'm just like, his character is a mess. The setup of their relationship is super abusive, and then there's the sex scene that I talked about earlier, which we don't have to go back into.
Yeah, please not. I think okay, so come the end of this very chaotic discussion, I think there's just still so much to talk about that we could probably do a part 2 soon.
We sure could.
Yeah. But I think for now, let's just call it, because I think we've all been talking for a while and it's getting a little bit late for us recording wise. So with all that being said, I don't know what that accent was. Thanks everyone for tuning in. You can find all of our social media as always down in the description below, as well as our individual ones. I think this is I don't even know where I'm going with this anymore. So this has been the Sarah J Maas episode. I think there's been just, like I said, so much to talk about that we will likely do a part 2 of this probably next season. So
maybe I'll have read them by then.
Yeah, maybe we'll touch up on what we say here, and follow it up in part 2. But for now, as this is coming up or as this is being released one day after A Court of Silver Flames comes up, enjoy, I guess.
Or don't. If you want to save yourself the sanity.
Oh my god. Always got a thing. Just, who knows? Maybe just like read it to meme it. I don't fucking know. I'm not you. But yeah. No closing plugs either, because we are all a little bit tired and we're all still in university, so we got shit to do. But oh god, I've really lost it tonight, haven't I? Oh.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Good night.
Goodbye.